Well, happy 5 years to All Elite Wrestling. I am going to raise a toast to the second promotion, the biggest promotion to compete with World Wrestling Entertainment since WCW went down the toilet in 2001. I'm going to toast to them with CM Punk's go-to beverage and Pepsi. But
I think that is the perfect analogy to open up this Double or Nothing review, because it has been 5 years since All Elite Wrestling has come into play. Obviously, we're fans. If we weren't, we wouldn't be reviewing all of their pay-per-views and keeping somewhat on top of the product. But man, what a 5 years it has been. If we want to start off with a little retrospective, I remember when AEW was first announced. I didn't watch the inaugural Double or Nothing, but my friend did lend me his account so I could check out the match because he said Cody and Dustin was really good. And I was just like, cool, more wrestling. I feel like a lot of wrestlers that started off AEW were wrestlers that I enjoyed that I never really got to watch on the regular, like, Cody Rhodes when he was on the indies, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page. We knew Chris Jericho was reemerging in AEW. And I just got to say, man, simpler times. I remember watching the first episode of Dynamite go up against NXT at the time. I actually watched NXT first, and it was Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle for the NXT title, and thinking that was a badass show. Then I turned on Dynamite, and we got Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara opening up the show, and I just thought, how freaking cool. A new wrestling promotion with old faces and new faces for us to watch on a weekly basis. It was pretty cool, but throughout the years, we've had the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you want to start off with the good, like I think of like Cody Rhodes running the company was pretty iconic. You think about how AEW handled the pandemic, and I still think they produced the best brand of pandemic wrestling, as weird as this is to say.
The first ever Stadium Stampede match is still the greatest cinematic match I've ever seen in my life. That was just fucking hilarious.
Really was damn good. You got, great stuff like that. You got great stuff like Hangman Page winning the world title. And even though this comes with a big heaping soup of controversy, CM Punk returning to professional wrestling, that was a very special moment. Yes. We've seen people ascend to the top. We've seen big names return. We've seen people jump ship from WWE to AEW, like your Christian Cages, like your Big Shows, like your Miros, like your Aleister Blacks,
Swerve Strickland.
Yeah, your Isaiah
Adam Copeland.
Now for Strickland. Adam Copeland making his way. That's probably the biggest one AEW's gotten. Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, just like, it's really, truly a
Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon.
I literally said Aleister Black when you didn't say anything either.
Yeah, no, that's right.
It truly has been a war for talent over the years. But, with the good comes the bad. And I feel like the past couple of years, we've gotten really shitty stuff, like Chris Jericho refusing to retire, even though I just said his reemergence at AEW was pretty cool. The CM Punk stuff, it's weird. It's like
brawl out, brawl in.
We started with something really cool, and it kind of just tumbles down into this snowball effect. And now it's weird how CM Punk coming to AEW, and that whole domino effect led to CM Punk coming back to WWE. But, take the good with the bad. AEW can be good. AEW can be bad. But I really think this, what I want to call it, this slump AEW has been, I think it's humbling for the fans, because I feel like fans have really been putting AEW on a pedestal, saying, oh, they're great, they can do no wrong. Well, Tony Khan said, hold my beer. Let's see how bad we can get. I feel like
that's going to be probably the biggest topic for debate on this podcast, because this iteration of Double or Nothing, for one, I thought this was way better than last year's show, because all I remembered from last year was second ever Anarchy in the Arena and the Four Pillars 4-Way, which I thought was very good, but the rest of it was completely forgettable in my eyes. This one, I thought, had a lot better matches up and down the card, and I thought it was a much better, outlook, or an overlay of how AEW is going to be going forward. It gives me a lot of hope for how AEW is going to actually present itself going forward.
I just feel like every time AEW puts out a pay-per-view, for the most part, it's like a new hope. I'm like, oh, this is what AEW is capable of. Why can't they do this on weekly television? Why
Because
can't they do this with
because Tony
Dynamite?
Khan has no idea what he's doing with weekly television.
Exactly. And, you brought up the four pillars too. Think of all the good AEW's brought in building new stars and like MJF, wink, wink, Darby Allin, say what you want about Jack Perry and Sammy Guevara, but they had a platform to truly become a big wrestling star on a platform that's not WWE. You look at guys like The Acclaim that we're about to talk about. You look at guys like Toni Storm with her reemergence. You look at guys like Hook, Taz's son getting his feet wet in the business with AEW. Talk about women like Jade Cargill. Like, she would not be as such a prospect to start in WWE if it wasn't for her running AEW. You look at returns like Saraya. We never thought she'd wrestle again, and now here she is. You talk about big returns like Mercedes Moné. Like, that was a big gift for AEW that we're going to talk about. Say what you want. She still has star power. Willow Nightingale, that'll make you smile. Willow Nightingale getting the
Willow Nightingale. There we go.
To catapult herself into stardom. As much shit as I've talked about AEW over the years, I can't not acknowledge the good that AEW has brought. And that's what I want. I want AEW to be good. I want to say I want AEW to return to the years of 2019 to 2021. And I feel like those were their glory days. I feel like everything from 2022 forward has just been like, it's left a sour taste in my mouth.
But no denying, Tomas, that the existence of AEW is very important for the entire business to thrive. Because, let's be honest, if AEW didn't exist, we'd probably still be getting shitty WWE products from like 2011, 2012, perhaps. When there's only one game in town, when there's only one place for the best wrestlers in the world to go, yeah, AEW says this is where the best wrestle, and that's like their tagline, like WWE's is then, now, forever. AEW says this is where the best come to wrestle, because they can't say where the big boys play, because that's copyrighted. But
you as much, that's definitely up to debate. That's all up to perspective. But if that really gets under your skin, then that's good, because competition is good. If you're a WWE fan and you think, what the hell, AEW can't say that, well, then WWE's got to step up their game. And, they have, with their Jey Usos and their Drew McIntyres and their Damian Priests and their Guntas and their AJ Styles. It's like, you want competition. If you didn't want competition, Zack said it best. Then, Vince would still be in charge, and he'd probably be putting the world title on, I don't want to say Omos.
Madcap Moss would be a world champion.
Or, someone that's not ready for the big leagues. That's when, Vince was like, well, we can do whatever we want, because who's going to beat us, TNA? No. Like, there was not a WCW. So WWE did whatever they wanted.
Yeah. So WWE cuck boys, be happy that AEW is around, because if it wasn't, we would not be on the best WWE run since the Attitude Era right now. So
yeah,
let me just say that much. But Double or Nothing, MGM Grand Arena, the same place that the inaugural Double or Nothing took place in lovely Las Vegas, Nevada. Tomas and I are going to be very familiar with that town once WrestleMania comes around. But this show, again, there's 10 matches that we got to go through. Again, it felt very long. I get what Tony Khan is trying to do to try and like give the fans their money's worth by putting as many stars on the show as possible. But this is what we've been saying at least for a year now. Quality over quantity, man. Like, there were at least a few matches that I feel like could have been trimmed off of this show. And I feel like it would have been an all-timer if they did that. But with that in mind, we do have 2 matches on the 0 hour, which I was barely paying attention to because they're basically collision matches. Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo had a match, and I don't even remember who won, if I'm being honest.
Purrazzo won.
Purrazzo won. Okay, yeah. Purrazzo held onto the ropes for a cheap pinfall. Yeah, there you go. Roll-up finish.
I came in like halfway through this 0 hour, so I did not see this match. But I did catch the second match. It was the Acclaimed versus the Cage of Agony, and the commentators, this was like Rampage quality commentary, because they're like, oh, Cage of Agony? I thought they were the Gates of Agony. I'm like, oh no, they're the Gates of Agony when they have this guy. But when it's just these three, they're the Cage of... Why are you coming up with separate names for a faction? Does it matter? I know that's something I would nitpick over, but who fucking cares? These guys are on TV, and I hate saying that. Like, these are like new faces, new names that could benefit from television exposure, but you don't put them on TV. You relegate them behind a paywall that is Ring of Honor. So in that case, who fucking cares what they're called? You know who I do care about? The Acclaim. I love the Acclaim.
Hold on.
They're still great.
You mean to tell me these guys, these motherfuckers who were so fucking over a year ago, we met them at WrestleCon last year, and they were the nicest guys. I'm still pulling for them. I really am. But if they don't, like, if these characters are not hitting their stride in AEW, let me say it is not their fault. It's Tony Khan's fault. Because these guys are way too damn over. The crowd loves them too damn much. But Tony Khan's just not doing anything with them.
And that all started last year when they were on top of the world with the tag team titles, custom tag team title belts. And what does Tony Khan do?
The trios titles.
A couple years ago. Let's say a couple years ago with the tag team titles. They have the tag team titles. You know, they're on top of the tag team world. They're as over as ever. And what does Tony Khan do like 3 months into the run? Puts them on the Ass Boys so the Ass Boys can drop them to FTR. Now, nothing against the Ass Boys because we're going to have a lot of great things to say about them. But you don't take the titles off your hottest act just to put them on FTR so they don't leave the company. Because that's what Tony Khan basically did. So ever since then, they've been snowballing down. They do win the trios titles, but at the same, who cares about the trios titles? It was like a consolation prize for them.
Yeah, the trios titles don't feel as prestigious as they did when Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks had this great reign as the first ever trios champions. They won them at All Out 2022, and they went on an absolute... oh, wait. Yeah, no, that didn't happen either. But anyway.
No, but then, you know, the trios titles, and then Tony Khan realizes he has 2 sets of 6-man tag team titles, so they unify the titles with the Bang Bang Gang, and that whole stupid angle. And now here the Acclaimed are on a pre-show. You know, they're still over, but the crowd is starting to not care because they're not on TV every week. And
they're not even part. Caster and Bowens are over as fuck, and they're not even getting the pinfall. It's daddy ass at 60 years old. Doesn't need to be getting the pinfall with the Fame Asser anymore.
But before we even get to that, but do you remember when we all crowded around the TV every week to hear what Max Caster was going to spit in his raps? His rap was still very good here, and it was very insulting to the opposing team, but, you know, it's like Caster has no reason to go out and get juicy material because he knows it's not going to be on TV every week.
No. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, like, Bowens and Caster don't even talk about what's new on the news this week, I'm sure, because they know it's probably not going to be on TV.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying, Caster's raps are only good because he says shock value terms. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying they have no motivation to make these, you know, shock value raps if no one's going to hear them. I still enjoyed Caster's rap a lot here. And what was very weird about this entrance, Bowens does his whole bit where he goes up to a fan sitting ringside to do the scissor me daddy ass, and this fan just randomly hands him an envelope, and I'm like, what the fuck?
The fan just looks at him. The fan just looks at him like the dude who was. Say you're invited. Say you go to a party and nobody wants you there because you weren't invited. That's how this chick was looking at Bowens. Like he was the cat who was going to the party and wasn't invited. I'm like, what happened? What happened to these guys?
I thought she was a plant. But no, she hands Bowens an envelope. Bowens looks at the envelope. I'd be scared because who knows, there might be anthrax in the envelope. And he just gives it to Daddy Ass and he throws it to the side. And it's like, okay.
Well, it's not like Brutus.
Give him a gift.
It's not like Brutus Beefcake handed him the envelope. But anyway,
fuck. What the fuck was that all about?
I don't know. I don't know, man. But yeah, very forgettable pre-show matches. There is one thing to note about it. About the 0 hour, that is. We did actually get a very nice appearance from Dr. Martha Hart, rather. Always great to see her. And they do announce the return of the 3rd annual Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And this time around, the winners of the men's and women's tournaments will be getting title shots at Wembley Stadium. I mean, it makes those tournaments feel a lot more like, I don't know what the word is. Noteworthy. Not to say that the Owens weren't noteworthy in their first 2 years. It was just showcasing fantastic wrestling, but because that's what Owen Hart was all about. But adding those extra stakes to it, I guess that ups the prestige.
Like King of the Ring?
Yep. We're gonna talk about that, huh? Yeah, and Tony Khan claims that this idea came around on Christmas Eve is when he was talking to Dr. Martha Hart about it. You're so full of shit. You're so full of shit, Tony.
It happened on Christmas Eve, which, by the way, Tony Khan seems to be always busy on Christmas Eve when it comes to wrestling. Take a holiday off, man. So you mean to tell me if they talked about this on Christmas Eve, why didn't he announce this New Year's Day?
Yeah. That's why I find it very fishy. Yeah.
Who cares if the tourneys aren't from 6 months from then? So what? Put the idea in everyone's head now. They're going to get title shots. But when he literally announces this the day after King of the Ring, 2 days after Triple H makes the announcement that the King of the Ring winners, the Queen of the Ring winner, is going to get a world title shot at SummerSlam. Yeah, this trios match, I feel like it could have been decent, but then it got sloppy near the end. And that's what happens when these three guys, I'm talking about Cage of Agony because Acclaimed has their shit down. They don't get TV time. And I feel like I said this before with other pre-show matches, they're just throwing people on the show. And it's like, they don't get the exposure and stuff like this happens. So that's the only big noteworthy thing I wanted to say about this. But like you said, Daddy Ass gets the pin and good for the Acclaimed. They are beltless. What's this win going to do for them?
How about they request their release and Triple H does something with them? That would be that would be my recommendation at this point.
Billy Gunn and Triple H still have to be best friends. You sure they can't give that guy a job? Can't give an NXT job back?
Of course, he realizes that Daddy Ass is not doing much in the Pissant Company they were talking about when they were inducted in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah. So it's disappointing. It's disappointing. Like, I know we're going to talk about a trios title match on this show, but it's only a matter of time till those damn belts get retired because I'm sorry, whether it's AEW or WWE, I don't feel like there's room for 6-man tag team titles.
Yeah, we don't need room. We don't have room for an ROH women's television title. There's no room for ROH 6-man titles, which is the whole reason why they unified those with the AEW trios titles. It's way too many fucking titles. But
NXT and NXT UK did a whole show where they unified all the titles because NXT UK was going under. You think it's almost a matter of time until Ring of Honor does the same thing and they just got to unify all those titles too?
Which is sad. It's sad to think about that, but sometimes you got to do the hard things to, to basically stabilize the future of your company. That's the phrase I was looking for.
You know what Tony Khan and Ring of Honor is? Ring of Honor is the 18-year-old dog that you just cannot let go of. But Tony Khan, this dog is blind. This dog has several diseases.
He's lost half of his teeth.
Yeah, I know it's hard, Tony Khan, but you got to take ROH to the vet.
Yeah, it's sad to think about, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That analogy is spot on. But other than that, do we have any other thoughts on the 0 hour before we get into the main show?
Nope, because that was the only thing I cared to bring up because that was the only match I watched. It is time for the main show, Double or Nothing, emanating live from the MGM Arena for the 5th year in a row, I want to say. I know we've talked about all out for example. So he's in Chicago, take it somewhere else. I know they had a market with CM Punk, but I feel like Double or Nothing just feels right in Vegas. It's where everything started. So I like it. Do it every year at MGM. It gives the fans, especially in that area, something to look forward to. And it kind of makes me wonder why I've never made the trip to a Double or Nothing. I feel like that's on the bucket list at some point. I feel like if WrestleMania really, is it the palate cleanser for me in Vegas, because me and Vegas have never had the best relationship. I feel like if the trip is as great as I think it's going to be, maybe I'll make the trip back for a Double or Nothing. I think that could be fun.
Yeah, I think it could be fun too. Or you could just have WrestleMania at Allegiant Stadium every year. That would be awesome. But
I think
anyway,
that would be awesome.
because we could go every year.
So you're getting a 2-night SummerSlam, so I don't want to hear any bitching.
I don't want to hear any bitching when you hear that Wembley Stadium is getting WrestleMania 42. So could you imagine?
So they're getting SummerSlam because they're being pretty hush-hush about where SummerSlam 2025 is going to be. So
maybe we'll see.
Tony Khan's going to be punching air if that happens.
Oh man, I would fucking love that. This internet medium would fucking explode. So with that, speaking of English wrestlers, he starts off the show. Will Ospreay, the aerial assassin, is challenging the Messiah of the Backbreaker, Roderick Strong, for the International Championship. Essentially, how he got here is Will Ospreay just won a casino gauntlet on an episode of Dynamite to get this title shot. And this is actually a match I was really looking forward to upon being announced. I know a lot of people see Will Ospreay going after the International Championship as not being on Ospreay's level, but honestly, no, I didn't see it that way either. I just saw Ospreay was wrestling Roddy, and I'm like, that's a new match that I've never seen before, and they're going for a prestigious championship, which has been made prestigious through Orange Cassidy's whole reign over the past year. So, with that said, go ahead.
Really bury the lead here. It's not that Will Ospreay is below the international title. It's that this is an opportunity for Will Ospreay to elevate a title. Because I think everybody was going into this match just assuming Ospreay was going to win. And, here's the thing about Ospreay. I think they're booking him absolutely perfectly. It'd be one thing if he came into AEW and Tony Khan was just like, oh, well, he's one of the biggest stars in Japan. Immediately thrust him into the world title picture. I think this is a lot better because they introduced him to the crowd. They got the vibe out, and he's already super fucking over. And if he wasn't already over by his arrival, the matches that he has had have been extremely over the top, and his wrestling has really won over the casual crowd of pro wrestling. And, they had a couple of, the match with Takeshita was great. The match with Danielson was phenomenal. Yeah, start him off with a mid-card title so he can elevate the title.
Yo, phenomenal with that match with Danielson. That's an understatement right there. That match is unbelievable if you've never seen that match from Dynasty last month. So,
one thing I've noticed about Ospreay since coming to AEW is this dude he's pitching a perfect game. Every single time he steps in the ring, it's fantastic.
It is.
I'm yet to be disappointed by a Will Ospreay match in AEW.
I've yet to see one bad Will Ospreay match at this point in his career. Yeah. Like, he's honestly making a solid case for being the best wrestler in the world. And now he's going up against a seasoned veteran in Roderick Strong, a wrestler I feel like he's been so underappreciated for so damn long. I feel like his act in the Undisputed Kingdom has been so entertaining, and he gets an opportunity to work with arguably the best wrestler on the planet right now. And wouldn't you know it, Tomas, this, honestly, technically speaking, is the best match on this show. And sad to say that because it's the opening contest, and no other match would even touch this, but...
Here's the thing about Roderick Strong that you brought up a good point as, you look back at his days in TNA, his days in Ring of Honor, he's always been such a solid worker. His days in NXT, he was so fucking good. There was a gap there, and you know exactly the gap I'm talking about. The transition from NXT to NXT 2.0, where Kyle O'Reilly left, where Adam Cole left, and this dude was so directionless that you saw the passion absolutely sapped out of this guy. But the minute he landed in AEW and the body of work he's been showing the past few months, this is the fucking Roderick Strong that I know. This is the fucking Roderick I love, and this dude is one of the most underappreciated, underutilized, and underrated wrestlers I've ever seen.
Roddy, like, the fire has just been lit right back under him. He won the International Championship at Revolution, I believe. Yeah, that's when I remember him winning the title.
Defeating Orange Cassidy.
Yes, ending his long streak. Roddy gets in there with Will Ospreay, and again, wouldn't you know it, it's a phenomenal matchup. There is a very scary moment towards the beginning where Matt Taven and Mike Bennett get involved. Will Ospreay almost lands right on his fucking head off of an electric chair drop, and the crowd actually does start chanting "Ref, you suck," because the referee was totally preoccupied with Roddy in the ring, and he did not see the botched spot, so Will Ospreay was almost killed right there.
It was like a suicide dive doomsday device, and I think it's because Taven slipped on the middle rope, like his foot got caught. So we didn't get all the clothesline, and he basically dove through the ropes, tried to grab Ospreay and bring him down, and Ospreay landed on his head. So that was probably the only hiccup in this match. Can I just say this now?
Yeah.
The Adam Cole Devil stuff, it was great, and I love the reveal. Looking at it now, he didn't need a faction tacked onto it. I think he could have did the whole thing by himself. Nothing against the Kingdom, nothing against Strong, everything against Wardlow. But
what's wrong with Wardlow?
Yeah, we'll get to him. Yeah. I just don't think the faction was necessary.
Well, yeah, Wardlow has been made to look like a chump ever since the Undisputed Kingdom was revealed at World's End. And case in point, you actually do get some Wardlow interference in this. The ref is once again preoccupied with Roddy in the ring. Wardlow goes in there clear as day. There's no disguise whatsoever. He just waltzes into the ring, picks up Will Ospreay, and situates him up for a powerbomb. And the referee catches him red-handed. Where is the disqualification, first of all? Second of all, like, this is the second straight pay-per-view where we've just seen a super awkward interference angle from Wardlow. Like, don't...
You know, I get it.
This is
okay,
frustrating.
On one hand, I get it because it does lend to the story. Because if you want to go back to the formation of this stable, Adam Cole said, Wardlow, win the AEW World Championship for me, and then you're going to lay down, and I'm going to beat you for it. So Wardlow immediately jobs out to Samoa Joe. So that flame is immediately snuffed out. It was like the fire got put out, and you're putting all the, the driftwood up, and you're trying to get that fire going again, and then somebody just throws a bunch of sand on it again. Because Wardlow has not been allowed to get fucking going the way he used to. So Adam Cole tells him, your only job now is to make sure the other members of the kingdom keep their titles. So I kind of get it. It's just like, oh, Wardlow's fucking up left and right. The execution has just been shit. It's been absolute dog shit with it.
It's made absolutely no sense. And it will continue to not make any sense going into the aftermath and the segment after this match. So Wardlow, Taven, and Bennett are all ejected only after Ospreay hits a gigantic corkscrew dive over the top rope, which they call him the aerial assassin for a reason, and his dives are always fucking beautiful. This guy's a hell of a babyface, wouldn't you say?
Before the Wardlow spot, Ospreay hits this awesome spot where he gets launched onto the barricade and then does like a fucking springboard moonsault off the barricade to take out the kingdom.
Yes.
Ospreay he's a fucking machine. This dude he's not human.
He's an aerial cyborg. He's like another Ricochet. Could we see another Ospreay has been trying to court Ricochet to sign with AEW from what I've been hearing. So we could get another Ospreay Ricochet GIF-worthy contest between those two. But
oh yes, I'd love to see Ricochet come in for a pay-per-view and then get relegated to Collision for the rest of his career.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, and make sure Samantha Irvin goes to the other side too. Yeah, no, don't
someone if that happens.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I need my Chelsea Green. I need that introduction.
We don't even get that.
Yeah, no, yes we do. Yes we do. Anyway, so Roddy starts working over Will Ospreay. He starts getting the heat. He locks in the Texas Clover Leaf submission hold. And then the finish comes around. Will starts making his comeback. Roddy goes for the end of Heartache, and Will Ospreay is so damn good that he flips out of end of Heartache and lands flat on his feet like a cat. And then he hits the hidden blade. And then I think there's an Oz cutter in there somewhere. And then he hits
the Tiger Driver. Here's a story element that I get. I wish they would cut the bullshit with the Don Callis stuff because he's another one I'm kind of starting to get tired of. Let's just say I'm getting tired of all the factions in AEW.
Yeah.
It's clear that Ospreay's a babyface. It's clear as day he's not joining the Don Callis family. So if you want to recall back to Dynasty, you want to talk about unnecessary story elements, the Tiger Driver 97 that made Danielson do the convulsing spot. Now Ospreay is scared to do the Tiger Driver because he's scared he's going to break someone's neck.
Well,
so he goes for the Tiger Driver. He stops himself. He says he can't do it. Callis calls him over and says, break that guy's fucking neck. Just straight up.
I appreciate the effort that's going into the story. Now, this story as a whole with Ospreay refusing to hit the Tiger Driver anymore, this would make sense if Bryan Danielson was actually on the shelf and he wasn't actually in the fucking main event in a much more dangerous contest. So
that's fair. Very fair.
Yeah, it's I appreciate the fact that AEW is putting more effort into long-term stories, but this one just doesn't really add up or make sense to me.
I agree with you. Also, in the case of I just think the whole Don Callis thing is unnecessary at this point because I feel like Will Ospreay's story just needs to be about his personal journey. He came to AEW.
Bingo.
He's fighting all these guys. He's having excellent matches. He's wrestling for a championship. the story needs to be about Ospreay's ascent to the top. And I don't think any heel manager that clearly he wants nothing to do with needs to do anything to do with this.
Yeah, because honestly, he just goes in there, he works a fantastic closing sequence with Roddy, and Roddy hits an angle slam at some point, goes for the end of Heartache, and no, it's the angle slam, it's the same thing. He flips out of the end of Heartache, and one of the most beautiful counters I've ever seen, hits the hidden blade, and he doesn't hit the Tiger Driver, Tomas, he hits the Stormbreaker, covers Roddy for the 1-2-3. Was there any doubt? Will Ospreay is the brand new international champion after a 17-minute clinic. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. This was my favorite. Like, honestly, I don't know if it was my favorite match on the show, but objectively speaking, I think this was the best wrestled match on the show.
I'm going to go 4.25. I thought this was excellent. Will Ospreay really just knows how to bring a crowd alive. As much as I enjoyed his heel turn, his heel run per se, and when he came into AEW as a babyface, I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I feel like that's just back to basics for him. No, this guy's energy is on another level, and he just knows how to bring the crowd alive. And his arsenal is just so fun to watch.
He's must see.
Putting on a title on this guy is absolutely the best decision they could have went with. My question is this, because everyone's been clamoring, everyone's been speculating. Ospreay being the guy to take the world title off of Swerve Strickland. So do you think Ospreay pulls an option fee and after a couple of months surrenders the international title to get a world title shot?
Honestly, you could do it that way, or you could have Ospreay enter the Owen Hart Cup tournament. You could have him win that, and then you could have him go into his home country in front of the biggest crowd in AEW history. Might have to check the turnstile count after that show is all said and done to confirm that. But Ospreay goes into his own country against Swerve Strickland, then wins the AEW World title, probably in a winner-take-all contest. But you could go.
Was my other thing, because that was an excellent idea too. But that's a really good idea to have Ospreay win the Owen Cup. I was just gonna say, or do you make Will Ospreay Willie 2 belts? And you have him carry both titles. He can pull a Keith Lee. He can pull an Ultimate Warrior.
I think so.
That could be. This is a very bold claim. This is a very bold statement. This could be AEW's Hogan versus Warrior.
It could be. It could be. Yes, Swerve Strickland does have that Roman Reigns aura, but could be AEW's answer to Roman versus Cody, except it's a pure babyface match. But yeah, Ospreay, sky's the limit for him in AEW, and honestly, the sky has no limit for him because he's the aerial assassin. Roddy, this was my favorite Roderick Strong match, and I don't even know how long. I'm so happy that this guy got to have this contest when he did. But getting back to the Undisputed Kingdom and how much of it...
That's saying a lot, by the way, because I think Strong's performance on pay-per-view has been excellent the past few times. His match with Cassidy was great. I loved his match with Kyle O'Reilly at Dynasty.
Me too.
So the quality of his matches are very good. So to say that this is the best, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, it's probably not too difficult to have the best match of your career with Will Ospreay. So, speaking of the Undisputed Kingdom, you do have Adam Cole walk out to the ring all by himself, and there were rumors circulating all over Twitter that, oh yeah, make sure you stay tuned to the beginning of Double or Nothing specifically, because there's going to be some big happenings there. Adam Cole
I'm so glad I don't read the internet.
Yeah.
Can I just say that right now? I'm so glad, because I remember being a kid and actually being surprised about big returns and big angles. You don't have to do that now. You just pop on the internet and somebody says, this guy's coming back tonight. And it's like, why would you want to read?
This one, they didn't outright say who it was that was coming back, but honestly, I was super surprised by this segment. It totally threw me off the scent, especially the developments over the past week or so. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to read rumors. I don't want to, make sure you watch this part specifically. It's like, it reminds me back in the day when I was on Twitter. This is like back in 2011. I was getting ready to watch an episode of TNA Impact, and Tommy Dreamer tweets out, watch TNA tonight. I'm not on the show, but something cool happens at the end. And I'm like,
oh, Lord.
Watch because you fucking ruined it for me. And then I watched the show, and I think Christopher Daniels came back, and I'm like, why'd you give away the finish?
Why'd you give away that the fallen angel, a TNA icon, was coming out? So Adam Cole is in the ring, and This is a typical heel promo, and Adam Cole's really great at being a pompous ass, and he's telling Las Vegas how much they suck. I almost said Los Angeles, but Adam Cole goes out there.
That's where Dynamite is this Wednesday. You guys should have mixed up.
Yes, he pulls out that devil mask, the aforementioned devil mask, and he says that there's a devil in all of us. And then the lights go down. The crowd, like, you can't even hear the end of Adam Cole's promo because the crowd is chanting MJF so loudly, you can't hear what he's saying. It's indecipherable. And then the lights go down, and this crowd comes unglued. You see a video package. You see a house. There's a POV shot of a guy walking down the hallway. You see that nice maroon suit, nice custom tailor-made. I'm sure it was Cody Rhodes' tailor that put that together. The Burberry scarf, a torn-together Polaroid picture of Adam Cole on one side, and Maxwell Jacob Freeman on the other. Yeah. I did.
Easter eggs, dog collar, and the callbacks to his other feuds.
Yeah, he's got a replica of the AEW World Title, which you could probably purchase on Shop AEW for $900. But anyway,
Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Yes,
was there.
He put on the Dynamite Diamond Ring in that little sequence. But
there was a little jar that said CM Punk's tears. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that should have put out the fire in the main event, CM Punk's tears. So, I'm jumping the gun here. MJF makes his big return, and he gets a massive hero's welcome. And the reason why I was surprised is because I was reading reports that his surgery wasn't going as planned. His torn labrum that he was dealing with, he worked hurt at World's End, and he went to go and get surgery. Sorry, I fucked that up. He wasn't going to get surgery, but then the recovery wasn't going as planned, and he was going to have to go under the knife, probably be out for the rest of the year. But we were talking about that at Dynasty, and now MJF pops up. He looks like Triple H at Madison Square Garden 2002 with the black and blue denim leather jacket. It's a cool look for him. He's ripped out the gills, and I was very surprised.
WWE does though, right?
Yeah, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? MJF goes out there and he at first hugs Adam Cole, but because MJF is our scumbag, takes Adam Cole to Dick Kick City, just totally like waylays him, and then he's like, "Yeah, get the shit stain out of the ring. I have stuff to say." Loved it.
Popped for the video package, and then I started wondering, is this just a tease or is he here? So I really popped for him actually coming out. What I popped for even more was the promo he cut, which we're about to get into.
Such a good promo.
Nobody can touch this guy on the mic. You want to talk about rejuvenated? You want to talk about recharged? You want to talk about AEW savior? This guy, this promo alone restored my faith in AEW.
MJF is the most complete wrestler on the planet. This is like AEW is a promotion that should be built around this guy. It should continue to be built around this guy. Nobody can touch him on the mic, and nobody can touch him in the ring. And it's even more amazing because this fucker's my age, and he's got a long way to go, a long career ahead of him.
Of this promo that just made me so freaking happy, and Zack knows because I told him this in the middle of the promo. This is the fucking babyface MJF I wanted.
Yes.
He said that Adam Cole awoke something in him. He said, "You know what? You made the biggest mistake. I trusted you, but that shit ain't gonna happen anymore because he's just gonna do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't care about friendship. He doesn't care about. Oh no, he said it's not about friends anymore," which I fucking loved. He said, "No more friendship, no more brochacho, no more kangaroo kicks."
Let me guess. That was the highlight of the promo. No more kangaroo kicks, even though the kangaroo kick is a fun move. I like the kangaroo kicks. No, fuck you. Fuck you. The kangaroo kick was awesome.
It was fucking stupid, and it made no sense for him to be doing it.
Well,
I just feel like, all jokes aside, I can't help but feel like that babyface reiteration of, take the promo. If this promo was supposed to happen like the Wednesday after World's End, this was always meant to be like for MJF. Like, he played the token babyface. Like I told you, he was pointing out all the cliches. He knew how to get the crowd behind him. So I just feel like that was just a step in the character development of MJF. So we could put all of that behind him and be this badass iteration of a babyface. And I will say this now, He may not even be babyface. He might be the best fucking tweener I've ever seen.
This was his Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out promo, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It felt like a Steve Austin style promo because he just does not give a fuck what anybody thinks of him. And he doesn't want to trust anybody, DTA, which was one of Austin's mantras. And he also tells Adam Cole, this guy has no filter. Unlike Adam Cole and those other schmucks in the back, I don't need a New Japan or a Vince McMahon to make MJF because MJF made MJF. And that was one of the coldest lines I think I've heard in a promo all year long. Again, untouchable on the microphone, this guy. And
it seems unnecessary for me because Vince McMahon's not a thing anymore, but I digress. It was still a cool line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I loved it. Yeah. The crowd was chanting donkey dicks during his promo because...
Oh, yeah, because MJF said, it's not my fault that all of your favorites in the back just suck a big old bag of donkey dicks. And I'm like, oh, this fool is just...
He's going for it. He went for it.
Fucking. And you know what? If I want to be really, 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 really nitpicky, the promo did go a little long, but it didn't matter because I was hanging on to every single fucking word this guy was saying.
Same. I wasn't looking at social media. I wasn't, scrolling through my feeds. My eyes were glued to the screen, and I was listening to what this guy had to say. Because this is the first time we've heard from him since the end of the year, since he was betrayed by his best friend. And I'm sure the question everybody had on their minds, well, two. Number one, is this guy cleared to compete? He did an elbow drop to the devil mask with the shoulder where his torn labrum was. I think he's just fine. I think he's probably going to be wrestling at Forbidden Door for sure. He's definitely going to be wrestling at Wembley, maybe in a grudge match against Adam Cole, even though he kind of made Adam Cole look like a schmuck. But we'll see.
He did. I'm not going to lie. I feel like the stuff leading into the promo was just him. Okay, let's get this Adam Cole stuff out of the way now. But I just feel like they have to. They have to have a death match or a dog collar match or something. There's got to be a blow off to this feud.
Yeah,
has to be.
They got to blow it off at All In London too, where it all started. Because they main evented that show last year.
Yeah, you know damn well the goal here is to get the world title back on MJF.
Yes.
Okay, maybe MJF is the guy to take it off Ospreay. I know we're looking way into the future right now, but that is what this promo screamed to me. He's going to get back on his feet, and he's going to get that world title back. MJF will be the world champion again soon.
Yeah, sooner than you think. MJF also, another big question. Everybody was talking about the bidding war of 2024 ever since that infamous promo he cut in the Kia Forum about 2 years ago to this point. Wow. Everybody was wondering whether or not he was staying with the company. He's like, in case it wasn't obvious to you motherfuckers already, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing here. Pulls up his pant leg, and he actually got an AEW-centered tattoo on his right calf. If that doesn't scream loyalty, I don't know what does.
It ain't going to age well when he eventually does go to WWE,
his boots are going to be covering that tattoo, so it's all good. But for right now, MJF is not fucking leaving, and he's going to be the world champion again sooner than you think. Welcome back, MJF. Can't wait to see what he does.
Promo? Because this promo gets 800 stars.
This promo gets 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
It was
way
so
up.
Fucking good. And the thing about the whole bidding war thing, that kind of fell off for me because there was no way in hell they were going to let MJF go on a cliffhanger. There was no fucking way. When this guy eventually does leave, he's going to get the biggest send-off of all time. So that kind of erased any doubts that I would have had of MJF was going to go to WWE. I still think he's going to, but I still think this guy has a lot of gas left in the tank when it comes to AEW. You know what? 5 years down the line, let this guy become the prospect. Make this guy somebody that Triple H can't help but offer him a deal the minute he comes out of his contract. And then we can talk about him going to WWE. But right now, I agree. He needs to stay put. He needs to win the world title 5 more times.
Become the most prolific AEW champion of all time, huh?
He needs to be
the
greatest wrestler in AEW history.
Yeah. So up next, great promo, but how do you follow that? You have another title match, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And I don't want to say the fans were dead for this because of this promo, but you can't help but chill out a little So we have the returning Death Triangle of Pac, Penta, El Cielo Miedo, and Rey Fenix. This is my favorite trio in AEW history. So when Fenix finally got back into the mix, I was so fucking happy. And Pac, Pac's one of my favorites, going against the Bang Bang Gang for the Unified World Trios titles. The Ass Boys.
We've done it. We've done it, guys. They're not called Bullet Club Gold anymore, and Tomas has to call them the Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah,
record that.
That's what they're actually called now, you cuck.
It is. Yes.
I'm not
Thank
calling
you.
them by their nickname team.
They've been called the Bang Bang Gang from the beginning.
Okay, no, they haven't. Death Triangle versus Bullet Club Gold. This was fun. I like this. It was short, but it was good.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I wasn't paying too much attention to it because, number one, it's a trios match with the Lucha Bros. It's hard to keep track of all the shit they do. And number two, we're coming off a pretty scathing promo.
Yeah, no, I did appreciate the work that went into this. I thought the wrestling was rock solid, maybe even better than that. Technically speaking, again, one of the better matches on this show, in my personal opinion. The Ass Boys really have come such a long way since we were hazing them last year at WrestleCon. And I'm so happy.
Then, I thought they were a very solid tag team. They've come a long way than just being Billy's kids.
I'm so happy to hear that the Ass Boys chants have not died. Austin was getting so fucking offended in the ring. I keep fucking mixing them up. No, Colton is the shorter one. Colton is the shorter one. Please never let me forget that ever again.
Never again. The one that looks like your cousin.
Austin's the one that looks like... I don't fucking know anymore. Never mind. The Ass Boys have some great double team chemistry. There's heat on Pac for a while. Jay White. Let's talk about him, shall we? How far this guy has fallen off of the main event scene. Remember when he was like AEW's biggest signing last year? Remember when he challenged MJF at Full Gear for the world title? I mean,
that's when shit started falling off for him. And now I knew he was dead to rights when this fool was winning a Ring of Honor title. And I'm like, this guy is world championship material. And
he is.
Very proud of the top right now.
Yeah, Penta. Yeah, they can't stand it, can you?
Everyone can be the world champion. But Jay White is so fucking good. And it really pained me. I didn't watch Dynamite this past week, but there is a clip going around. It's kind of getting viral. Jay White's cutting a promo. He says some shit. And a fan at the end of it yells out, "Who wrote this shit?" Never thought I would say Jay White got verbally buried by a fan. And
he did. He did. Him and Pac did have a nice clinic when they were matched up with one another. I'd like to see those two go one-on-one on pay-per-view. Fuck it. Why not? Put a mid-card title on either one of those guys and then just have them do a 30-minute Broadway. I would love that.
Pac is so fucking good.
He is, isn't he?
Everybody said that Rhea Ripley was the queen of selling DDTs. Pac's the king of it.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of the...
Pac's chest was beat to shit in this match, wasn't it? It looked like ground beef before you throw it on a barbecue.
I'm not a big fan of the convulsion spots, but Pac is just so fucking good at selling DDTs that this is the one time I'm going to let it slide. Because Jay White fucking spikes him, and this dude went into cardiac arrest. It was not funny, but what a sell.
Yeah, Penta does get the hot tag at one point. He runs wild with the Canadian Destroyer, which is the most overused move in AEW right now. Pac gets back in there.
Destroyer.
Yeah, he goes for the red arrow, but Juice Robinson.
Black arrow.
The juice is loose though. Juice Robinson comes out. Yeah. Fucking Christ. Yeah, the juice is loose. He holds Pac by the leg and he makes sure that the red arrow is not executed. And then the referee never saw it though. Jay White then nails Pac with a Bray Wyatt tribute, the Sister Abigail, and then he pins him. Pins him in 12 minutes. I just said that all just to piss Tomas off.
Jay White hits the Blade Runner and gets the pin. You talked about the wrestling being rock solid in this match. That was a good forewarning that rock hard Juice Robinson's coming back. Juice Robinson has grown on me so much, and Bang Bang Gang has not felt complete since he's been gone. I'm surprised they haven't been carrying around the cardboard cutout of him, but then again, I don't watch Collision, so they probably have.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be pretty funny though.
This was solid. I wish they would do more with Jay White, but this was solid. I'll give it 3.25 stars.
I'll match it. I'll match it. Yeah, they only got 12 minutes to get all their spots in, and it felt like a 12-minute sprint. But I feel like if there was more drama and if the trios titles meant more, this could have been one of easily the best matches in AEW all year. But what can you do?
But
what can you
have
do?
Such a bloated roster, and you have these matches that just feel like, I don't want to say afterthoughts. I appreciate everybody in this match. I liked everyone in this match, but I get it. There's not enough TV time for everyone. But when your secondary and your third show just don't generate enough interest, it's hard to keep track of all this.
Yeah. AEW's just got too much going on, and their pay-per-views feel overly bloated. Case in point, their next contest here. Oh, Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb for the world title, the women's world title. Can I start here? Yeah. Can I start? This crowd so badly wants to cheer Timeless Toni Storm, but Tony Khan is insisting that I almost said that Tony Khan insists that Tony Khan should remain a heel. That's how pissed off I am.
I mean, Tony Khan insists that Tony Khan should do a lot of things.
Listen, I get it. I totally understand where they're coming from. They're building to a story where I'm presuming Mariah May wins the women's Owen, and then she goes and challenges Toni Storm at Wembley for the title. It's a long-term story. That's probably the biggest chance that we have of Toni Storm's reign ending at this point in the reign. But
you want to hear my theory about that real quick, though?
Go ahead.
Everybody thinks that, and I think that's great. I think Mariah May winning the tournament is great. But I don't think Mariah May is going to be the babyface to take the title off Toni Storm. I think she's going to turn heel on Toni Storm, and that's how you get babyface Toni Storm.
Oh, I would. Yeah, no, that's even better than what I was thinking, because this crowd. Good Lord, the psychology in this match, and no disrespect to either lady, I thought this was one of the better matches in Toni Storm's reign so far since she won it at Full Gear. I think she won it at. And Serena Deeb, phenomenal wrestler. And I feel like the story they were trying to develop with her, the fact that she was having seizures and that she lost 18 months or so of her career, didn't know what she was going to do with herself anymore. Women's Dean Malenko and all, she's a brilliant technician. She's a technical wizard. She cuts these impassioned promos, and the crowd still wants to cheer Toni Storm. And it's so fucking easy.
Case of, I talked about this Toni Storm cycle. Toni Storm is so over, so I feel like all of their opponents need this sob story to go along with it to get empathy for them.
Yeah.
And, I get it. You want to bring Serena Deeb back as a babyface. That's fine. But I just feel like the fans don't care enough about her. It's not that they don't like her. They just don't care enough about her.
Toni Storm is just more over.
It's just, I just feel like Toni Storm has really been treading water as the women's champion. They don't want to take the title off her. They feel obligated to book her in a pay-per-view match every pay-per-view. And this is another thing about the monthly pay-per-views. I would rather her defend the title on TV and just save the big matches for the big pay-per-views. But no, we got to have a pay-per-view every month now. So they got to throw some shit together instead of just, having her defended on TV, which I think would be a lot better use of her as champion.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because honestly, if I was booking these shows and I see that a gimmick and an act is so popular with the fans, even though they started off as a heel, and I saw the fans gradually cheering for this person, I'd have no choice. I'd have no choice but to start booking her against heels at that point. But
and I want to bring hope into this thought because I do think that is the end goal, but I just don't think it makes sense right now. I do appreciate them slow building toward this because one of the big spots in the match that we need to talk about is Serena Deeb puts on the Serenity Lock on Toni Storm, and Mariah May wants to throw in the towel, but Luther stops her. And when Toni Storm doesn't make it to the ropes, she catches Luther with the towel and scolds him for it. But the commentators even point out, well, Luther wasn't the one trying to throw in the towel. She was actually stopping Mariah May for doing it.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it's a slow build to, like I said, Mariah May turning on Toni Storm, and that's how we get the babyface turn.
I forget, did Toni Storm send him to the back after that? I don't think so.
No, they were out for the entire time.
Gotcha, I see. So, also, I got to commend Serena Deeb as well for implementing as many submission holds into this match as she could. She's the woman of 1,000 holds, so she's living up to her name. Truly living up to her name.
Toni Storm and Serena Deeb are excellent wrestlers. I'm not denying that whatsoever. This was a very well technical wrestled match, but it was a foregone conclusion. So I just feel like there was no drama in this.
Yeah. I mean, Deeb kicked out of a Storm Zero in this, so it's not like they weren't trying. It's not like they weren't. Yeah, everybody kicks out of the Storm Zero now, right? Thunder Rosa kicked out of it at Dynasty. I completely forgot who Toni defended against at Revolution, but I'm sure whoever it was kicked out of the move there too. Deeb also, I mean, she got close. I mean, there were a couple of great near falls towards the end. Deeb does sit out slams on the apron. Again, great freaking wrestling there. Oh boy. Hold up. But yeah, I mean, like, we were talking about how everybody kicks out of the Storm Zero. So what do you do, psychologically speaking? You hit that move from the top rope, of course, and I thought that was a great finish there. Avalanche Super Storm Zero. That gets the 3 count for Toni Storm. She retains the championship. Was there any doubt? Her and Mariah May have a celebration on stage that I'm sure a lot of fans are very happy watching. But with that said... Jesus. I'm going to go 3.5 stars. Yes. Mariah May was also wearing an outfit that I'm sure a lot of fans will be very happy with. Yeah, just saying.
I'm going to go 3.25. I thought it was a very well wrestled match, but it just felt like it had no heat. It felt very
yeah, because everybody knew that Deeb wasn't going to win. And Deeb was
I would have loved it if Deeb won, but not her time.
Yeah.
I feel like in the women's division especially, Tony Khan's got that 1 star. There's your star. Everyone else is down here. Even though he has 2 women's titles. But we'll talk about that second women's title in a little bit. I'm sure you can't wait.
Oh, I can't fucking wait. Yeah, let's get through this next match, huh?
Go. You want to talk about a match that feels like it should be more important because it actually has a lot of history behind it.
Yep.
Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy going against the former Dude Buster known as Trent Beretta. How did we get here? Well, if you watch Rampage and Collision, which I'm sure everybody does, there has been a slow dissension breakup between the best friends. Let's take this opportunity to wish our best wishes to the Kentucky gentleman, Chuck Taylor. It started off as kayfabe, but it kind of like, no, it was a shoot, but it kind of morphed into the kayfabe. It like bled into the storyline. Chuck Taylor, unfortunately, has been dealing with so many nagging injuries that are catching up with him, and he had to prematurely retire. That sucks. He is an AEW original. The best friends, I feel like, have been one of the most overacts since day one. We all know about his great antics in PWG. I feel like this guy had so many years left on his career, but it got cut short. So they integrated, they fit this into the storyline. Beretta and Taylor actually had a parking lot brawl on an episode of Rampage that Taylor, he insisted that he worked because if this was going to be his last match, he wanted to go out wrestling one of his best friends. And ever since then, this rivalry has just morphed between him and Cassidy. There was this very stupid spot on Dynamite where Beretta turned on Cassidy, beat the shit out of him. I thought this was great. But then he pile drives Orange Cassidy onto the steel steps. And I'm not kidding. 30 seconds later, Cassidy gets up and he's ready to fight Beretta some more. That takes guys out for weeks.
Come on. Yeah, no, Cassidy should have been stretchered out after that spot.
He should have. And then you want to talk about unnecessary story elements, Don Callis has to poke his nose into everything. And he's trying to recruit Orange Cassidy.
Another baby face. Like I think he's dipping into the wrong talent pool there.
So I hate that. It's so unnecessary. You talk about heat between 2 former best friends, and this should be a grudge match, and it had all the elements to, but just the execution was so awkward. It just didn't feel as important as it should have been, because I love Beretta's new swagger. I love his new theme song where it starts off with the best friends and it just like breaks in half into his new theme. Orange Cassidy wearing the OC shirt with the black print was pretty cool. He went back to his old theme song. All the elements are there. All the components are there, but it's just not executed very well.
It's not. And honestly, you hit everything spot on. I feel like this feud would have been so much more effective if the best friends were actually a prolific tag team in AEW. Because remind me, how many tag team titles have the best friends won?
0.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy is the most prolific member of the best friends, holding that international championship up like nobody else. So the fact that Trent Beretta is now all of a sudden betraying Chucky T and Orange Cassidy, like, yeah, part of me gets it. Like, you guys weren't getting anywhere, but they've been, like, directionless for, God, like 4 years now. They've never won the tag team titles.
Let me put it this way. I wanted to care about this more.
Yeah.
I really did.
Me too. Like, honestly, if they made this like a street fight, but I mean, it's hard to have another street fight on this show when you already have a fucking barbed wire steel cage match still to come and an Anarchy in the Arena match. So the fact that this is,
I'm sure you're so excited to talk about.
This is just a straight up professional wrestling contest here, where the two men in this grudge match are exchanging holds.
Do I think this is going to turn into a street fight down the line with this finish? Absolutely. But this was the pay-per-view match, and it wasn't bad. Cassidy and Beretta are great. I think Beretta is criminally underrated. I would like to see Beretta go back to WWE one day because I think he's a great wrestler. There's a lot of potential in Trent Beretta. I've always been a Trent Beretta supporter. So this was fine. This was a good match.
Yeah, it was good, but I should have cared about this way more. Orange Cassidy does hit a beach break on the floor, which is not fun. Absolutely not fun. Match goes and continues in the ring. Orange Cassidy goes for some Superman punches. He hits the beach break for 2 count. Trent actually goes for a submission hold in this grudge match, not beating the crap out of his best friend or anything. But then Orange Cassidy just flips over in a jackknife and pins him. Match got 14 minutes, a roll-up in a grudge match? What the fuck happened here? Like, what the hell happened?
Do you hear my head banging against the desk?
Yeah. Oh, I hear it. I hear it. And then they do a fucking angle after the match where Trent leaves, and I believe it was like, who was it out there? Yeah, it was Rocky Romero. Rocky Romero goes out there and greets him, and Renee Paquette is trying to get an interview with him, and Trent says, "I'm done." Leaves through the crowd. Where's this fucking going? Probably got to watch Collision to find out, huh? I'm not going to waste.
A great theory from, I don't know if it was Greg or Solomonster, but they said, so Don Callis said something about presenting a contract to somebody on Dynamite to join the family. Everybody thinks that's Orange Cassidy. It's going to go to Trent Beretta. It's going to go to Beretta. Does Beretta belong in this faction? No. But what else are they going to do with him?
No. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely not. I mean, the wrestling was fine for maybe a Dynamite main event. Not on pay-per-view. If they cut this match off the pay-per-view, I hate saying this pay-per-view would have been an all-timer if you cut off at least 2, maybe even 3 matches. I'm going to go...
I would have appreciated if this was like the main event of a Dynamite.
Same. That's what I'm saying. Like, if this was the main event of Dynamite, if they followed up that parking lot brawl with just a pure lights-out match between these guys, that would have been so entertaining. And it would have actually felt like the end of an era and the end of a feud. Yeah. So, instead, you get a very standard grudge wrestling match on a pay-per-view. I'm going to go 2 3/4 stars. This was... I mean, the wrestling wasn't bad. It's just the placement of it is just weird in context.
I'll give it 3 stars because I like both of the guys in this match, and I do think this feud has potential. I cannot get over that. And I do think it's not too late to save this feud. I just want to care about it more.
Yeah, I want to care about it more, and I certainly wish I could care about this next contest. Yeah, you're really putting out the bangers right now, aren't you? It is a triple threat Extreme Rules match for the FTW Championship as Tomas has fallen asleep, so I'm going to get through this as quick as I can. You have the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, going up against Batman/Hook and Katsuyori Shibata, whose gimmick is he's the wrestler. That's his nickname. Was he in the Mickey Rourke movie, The Wrestler? Is that what they're calling that?
About?
Nothing too extraordinary here. Chris Jericho wishes...
Wait, what match are we talking about? I conked out.
Chris Jericho wishes he was in Anarchy.
About Chris Jericho.
He fucking wishes he was in Anarchy in the Arena right now. He thinks he's so fucking cool right now.
How did we get here? Well,
who fucking cares?
AEW title, which he renamed the For the World title. he thinks he's a hardcore guy now.
It's not. Hold on. It's not even close to a world championship. It's a gimmick belt that was made for Taz back in ECW.
Well, it stands for fuck the world title, but he's renamed it for the world title. And now he thinks he's a hardcore guy, and he had this fucking abysmal match with Shibata on Dynamite, and he recruited Big Bill, and I just want to stab my eyes out with ice picks right now, and I just am not having a good time right now. And
yeah, this was
cool. I'm not saying Shibata isn't cool, but he's in the Jericho vortex now, and he's getting the clout sucked right out of him, and this was so fucking boring. I hated this match.
Jericho wishes he was in Anarchy in the Arena, because very early on, he pulls out a bag, which is usually reserved for thumbtacks, but because they're in Las Vegas, it is a bag filled with dice. I'm not even shitting you. Like, these little things, right? If you're watching this on the video, you know exactly what dice look like, but it's a bag full of these things, and these guys are taking bumps all over the place, and the referee does nothing to sweep it up after. So basically, the entire match are taking bumps on dice.
I'm sure it hurts to land dice.
Oh, yeah.
But after a while, it just didn't seem devastating. You got thumbtacks. You got broken glass. I personally never stepped on a Lego in my life, but even the Legos were like more devastating than that. Sure.
I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better. The gummy bears in PWG are more devastating than this.
Just after a while, after like 6 spots in a row with these fucking dice, I was just so infuriated, and I literally screamed at my TV, Aubrey Edwards, do your fucking job and sweep these dice out of the ring. It was so just annoying.
But she does not do that.
They do this stupid ass spot that Jericho's been doing where he puts a trash can over his head and they just dink him. I mean, dink him with kendo stick shots. Shibata and Hook just go, beep, beep.
Jericho, get the fuck out of here, man.
Like, Jericho, are you too scared to take a fucking bump?
Nope, because that's what Big Bill is for. That's what Big Bill is for, to take the bump. And honestly, Big Bill does run interference, which was to be expected. Where's your tag team partner, Bill? Where is he?
He's getting ready to move to Florida.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's going to work the BTW date against QT Marshall, and then he's off to join Cody in the other promotion. But, Chris Jericho has help from his big 7-foot-tall giant. I will say, my favorite spot of the match was Hook hitting some sort of suplex off the apron onto Big Bill through a table. That was cool. I'll give them that.
Because it was Hook.
I'll give them that. It was cool. Hook. Hook is awesome. Hook is. Yeah. I've been a big Hook believer since I've seen him. Like, since I first saw him in 2021, I'm like, that dude could be a big star. And
Shibata is above this.
Mm-hmm.
Shibata is fucking above this. And you know what? I think Shibata's cool too. I think the Google Translate gimmick he's doing is fucking hilarious.
It is. So
he's fucking above this shit.
Yeah, so Jericho, there's a submission sequence where Hook applies the Taz mission, and then Jericho locks in the walls on Shibata.
He calls it Red Rum.
And then Shibata counters it. I'm not listening to you. He applies a figure 4 leg lock, or as Lindsay would say, 2 men scissoring each other in the ring.
And I'm sure Logan Paul would have screamed like a bitch if he was in that hold.
Yeah, especially from Shibata. No disrespect to Cody, but I'm sure Shibata's hurts. Like, good lord, I would believe that Shibata's hurts. So
I wouldn't take a headbutt from Shibata.
Yeah, so while the figure 4 is being locked in, you get another run-in from a dude in a hoodie, and he's under a mask, and he takes the hood off, and he takes the mask off, and it's revealed that it's the bounty hunter Brian Keith. Why do you have to suck another big signing into the Jericho Vortex? Why? Brian Keith was doing just fine. Why does he have to be in the stable?
Because Tony Khan signed Brian Keith and doesn't know what the fuck to do with him. I'm going to reference Solomonster again. He made another good point. He didn't need to wear a mask.
No.
It wasn't this big, huge reveal. Nothing against Brian Keith. He's a great wrestler. He has the talent. But it's not like he was The Rock. It's not like he was Keith Lee. It's not like he was big returning star. It's Brian Keith.
Yeah.
And Jericho has added another crony to his faction. If this was any other instance, I would say, hell yeah, Brian Keith could benefit from a faction. But it's Jericho, and this is his third in AEW. And I don't know how much more I can take of this. I want you to put me out of my fucking misery.
Please, please, sooner or later. But I mean, I respect everything Jericho's done for the business. I respect that he is probably one of the greatest technicians of all time. But at this point, I'm done. I'm done seeing him.
I'm going to give this match a 1.75 stars. I hated this shit.
Same.
And I don't want to rate it too low because I like Shibata and Hook, and I feel bad for them. But Jericho just knows how to make everything that's fun not fun.
Yeah.
He made factions not fun. He made musical theater not fun. And now he's making hardcore wrestling not fun.
Yeah, this should have been such a fun junk food style match, but no, it wasn't that at all. This next,
is like
yeah, go ahead.
A bunch of Twinkies and some ho-hos and some Rice Krispies, and you put it in the oven, and then you sprinkle bacon bits and fucking drizzled cheese all over it. It's like, this could have been nice. Like, this could have been a nice little cheat meal, but you fucking ruined it.
Yeah.
You put too much shit in there.
It just doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good anymore, does it?
You feel bad eating it.
Yeah.
You throw up after eating it.
Basically.
Remember when Bryan Danielson told Bo Dallas he needed to leave?
Yeah.
Well,
leave.
Chris Jericho needs to get the fuck out of my company.
He needs to go home.
Out of our company.
Needs to go home. Yeah. Get out of our company as if we're paying. Yeah.
Time with your wife.
And your children. Please. Yeah. That's all we're asking.
Get out of our company.
Yeah. We don't need you in WWE unless you're giving a Hall of Fame speech. That's all we need from you.
I'm glad.
Anyway.
I got all that anger out.
Yeah.
I was saving all my anger for that one match.
You saving all of your anger for that one match? Well, we're going to have some more anger for this next one and how it's all set up.
No, this one just makes me annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
It is Konosuke Takeshita. No, wait, hold on. How do I want to set this up?
Yeah.
Jon Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita in an IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator match.
Why do we need a oh my god. So, the concept of Eliminator matches in AEW has been starting to come around, I don't know. I don't mind the idea of if a dude beats a champion, then he gets a title shot. But, I mean, you're kind of premeditating this. Remember back in Vince McMahon's final days as the head of creative in WWE, when he would do the stupid thing called a championship contenders match? And that was his main way of setting up a title match for a pay-per-view? Well, in this case, you actually have the pay-per-view match, and it's a championship contenders match.
So
why?
Okay, so here's the thing. With the difference between those two instances you just made. Vince McMahon always booked the champion to lose.
Yep.
So it was bullshit. Those matches were bullshit. Tony Khan is the other way around. I want you to name me the last time anybody has won a championship eliminator match.
Never. Yeah, it's never happened. So this is the convoluted booking behind this.
Jon Moxley just won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
Good for him.
I immediately got nervous because shit like this was going to happen. He's a mainstay in AEW. He's a staple in AEW. So he's going to be going back and forth a lot to Japan to defend that title. I'm pretty sure New Japan does not want Moxley to drop this title on American soil. So what do you do with him here? Tony Khan loves every single championship in the world to be on his show. I'm sure he would love to defend the IWGP title, but we're so close to Forbidden Door, he can't do that. So this should have been a fucking match on Dynamite. Because look at the logic here.
Bingo.
So you mean to tell me I paid $50, so Takeshita might get a title shot? What happens if Takeshita wins this match? I guarantee that title shot is going to be on free television. So you mean to tell me I had to pay to see Takeshita get a title shot, and then I just watched the championship match for free?
I actually kind of disagree with what you just said there, because imagine if Takeshita did win this match and it was, pay-per-view quality match, because I thought this match was very good. In a vacuum, I really enjoyed how these two work together. But if Takeshita wins this match, the likely outcome would have been he challenges Moxley for that title at Forbidden Door. Maybe even with a 2 out of 3 falls stipulation. I don't know. Maybe to make the match feel different.
Because New Japan, you think they wouldn't want to send one of their guys to challenge for the title? Imagine being told, we're going to put your World Heavyweight Championship on our guy, and then he's going to defend that title against another one of our guys at a pay-per-view where you guys are bringing all your top stars in.
That's true. Yeah. I see where you're going with that. But how do you know that Takeshita isn't a big enough star to actually challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight title? Takeshita is the guy who last year beat Kenny Omega not once, but twice. 2 weeks in a row on pay-per-view. Clean. In the span
of 2 weeks. Yeah.
Clean. Yeah.
100%.
And I cannot pin down the last time I've seen Takeshita win a huge match. Like, Ospreay's debut match, of course he was going to lose that. But other than that, I can't pin down another one where Takeshita actually got that big win. So that's where I was
victim of TK's start and stop booking.
Yep.
He
Bingo.
Was on his way to being one of the best homegrown AEW talents. But Tony Khan can't follow up on anything.
No, he cannot. But Takeshita actually, for the most part, believe it or not, dominates this match. He is humbling Jon Moxley all up and down the MGM Grand Arena, the same place where Moxley, the AEW icon now, which is hilarious to me. Moxley debuted in this arena 5 years ago at Double or Nothing, and here he is just getting waylaid by Takeshita here. And it's like Takeshita even steals Moxley's finisher, the Dirty Deeds, and he almost pins Moxley with it in the middle of the ring. But no, Moxley makes a brief comeback. To your point, Moxley then hits that Death Rider on Takeshita, and these guys got, how long did they get? This was a long match.
17 minutes?
17 minutes. In a vacuum, this is probably a 4-star match, but given the circumstances, 3 3/4 stars. If Moxley was just going to beat Takeshita, why not just market this as a title match? Why the fuck not? You already have somebody debuting on this show, getting a title shot night 1, and you can't just give Takeshita a title shot here. He has to earn it.
This is why I'm not a big fan of this cross-branding where they're going to put the world title. I'd understand if Jon Moxley was the Intercontinental Champion. I can understand if he was the IWGP United States Champion. I can understand if he was the Openweight Champion. But the World Heavyweight Championship, that's just going to create a ton of problems. And I'm pretty sure New Japan told Tony Khan, sure, we'll put the title on Moxley, but here are our fucking guidelines of what you can and can't do with our world title. I'm sure this was one of them. So this was just a big, just confusing mess. Not the match, just booking-wise. I'm going to give it 3.5 because those circumstances are just too jarring for me. I thought it was a very solid match.
Yeah, it was a really, really good match. I really liked these guys' chemistry. Takeshita, again, I think is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world right now, considering that this man beat Kenny Omega twice in a row on pay-per-view, clean as a fucking sheet, and he hasn't gotten a big win since. I'm sorry I'm so annoyed, guys. I did enjoy this show.
Yeah.
But it's just, these little things are so frustrating because I know that AEW is capable of putting on an all-timer of a pay-per-view, but little things like this are just they're nagging at me. They're nagging at me, and everybody's saying that this was AEW's greatest pay-per-view of all time on Twitter. No. I'm like, no! Not even fucking close. I wouldn't put this over All Out 2021, because that's their magnum opus. That's their WrestleMania 17 right there, in my opinion.
I would put this over All Out 2023.
No! All Out last year was fucking awesome. I mean, this show, I think, might have been better than the Wembley show last year. Certainly wasn't better than any of the past 2 Revolutions, one of which we were at. So, it's frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. Yeah. But up next, this is where the show really picks up for me. I loved this match. Adam Copeland, otherwise known as Edge, defends his TNT
no, he's
championship.
He's Adam Copeland.
He comes out with a Brood entrance. It's Edge. He defends against Malakai Black in a barbed wire steel cage match. This is only the third time in history that we've gotten a mainstream pay-per-view with a barbed wire steel cage match on it. The first one was Flair versus Hogan at Uncensored 1999. The second one we've actually talked about on this podcast, JBL versus The Big Show at No Way Out 2005. And this one actually might have been better than both of them. I really liked this match. Why are you annoyed? What do you have to be annoyed about? This match was, like, on any other card, Tomas, this would have been the most violent thing on the show. But here, at Double or Nothing 2024, it's the second most violent match on the show. And I dug every second of it.
This match was good.
I hate you. No, that's. I mean, you're entitled to your opinions. Yeah, there's weapons all over the ring, but
the match was good. I'm going to talk about a certain spot that was extremely unnecessary.
Oh God, yeah, that's my biggest problem with it. That's my biggest problem with it. Well, we'll get to it. I'm sure you loved Edge's entrance tonight.
Adam Copeland. His discount-ass WrestleMania entrance that we saw last year. Yeah,
he comes out to the same Slayer theme song, and Tomas actually texted me and was like, "Let us have this WrestleMania moment." Let me preface everything by saying this. This match against Malakai Black, I'm sure was the match Edge wanted to have against Finn Balor at WrestleMania last year. But unforeseen circumstances, for some reason, prevented them from having some of the things happen in this match that Edge wanted to have happen, but they didn't for some reason.
For this match, I'm going to keep a lot of opinions to myself, so I don't come off as a bitter little bitch.
All right.
If I really unleashed myself, I would be, what's the word I'm looking for?
A WWE cuck?
No. It's an actual word. God damn it, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Well, irrational. Yeah, you'd have a pretty unconscious bias against WWE right there, basically.
I would.
These two actually, both guys gigged early on. There was so much color in this thing, and if this match, and this is a steel cage match where escapes didn't matter. You won by pinfall or submission, and I love that. I love that.
How cage matches work.
No. You get in a barbed wire steel cage match, and the object is to flee from your opponent.
Yes.
Yeah. Stupid. So there's a bunch of weapons in the ring, and these guys are just like, there's a barbed wire baseball bat that Malakai Black uses to grind against Cope's face. This is probably the most Edge has bled since he came back in 2020, I would say. Probably the most he's bled since 2008. At least I think
100%.
Yeah, it was, just blood all over the ring. Malakai was bleeding everywhere also. Let's see. So you get to, I'm just trying to see if there's anything noteworthy before we get into these spots. There's Edge does hit an execution DDT on Malakai Black for some nice near fall.
An impaler.
It's the execution though. It's because it's
Copeland. He's not Edge.
Yeah,
Adam Copeland, so he can't use those moves.
He might as well be.
Well, he's not Edge.
He might as well be. He's not allowed to use the Edge name, but everything else screams Edge.
So we can't call him Edge.
I'm going to call him Edge, though.
Edge retired last year.
Oh, my word. Yeah, we're just...
AEW's discount-ass version of saying, we don't care about WWE, we don't care about WWE, but we're going to reference everything he did in WWE. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm fucking wrong.
Well, I mean, Edge does hit a spear on Malakai Black at one point. So, this is the spot I'm sure you wanted to talk about. Do you want to
before or after the House of Black stuff?
This is before. Yeah, the House of Black didn't come out until after the spot. So, anyway, do you want to preface this spot for people who didn't happen to see the pay-per-view?
This could have been badass, but the more I think about it after the fact, this was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
So I will say the setup was pretty cool. So Copeland puts Malakai on a table, and he wraps barbed wire like all around his head. And I'm like, okay, he's going to do something pretty gnarly here. He climbs to the very top of the cage.
And this is a tall cage, too.
Yes, and I'm immediately getting Unforgiven 05 vibes from him and Matt Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, holy shit. Like, he's going to splash him through the table.
Nope.
And I thought that's what he did. But I didn't realize this. You could tell with the minute Copeland jumped, he regretted it.
He chickened out. He chickened out.
Copeland comes down halfway, and he lands on his fucking ankles, and he hits the worst-looking elbow drop I've ever seen in my life.
I watched this, and this was my biggest problem with the match, exactly because of what you said. It was so unnecessary. When I saw that landing, I shrieked, because Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and I didn't want to see this man more injured than he already is. Well, yeah, you know, because Adam Copeland and Edge aren't the same guy.
Copeland, oh damn, I was gonna make a good point, and I totally forgot it, but...
Well, can I actually follow up on this?
Of course.
It was it was revealed because of that spot, Copeland fractured his tibia, his shin bone. So this fucker's going to be out for a few months. He's probably going to have to vacate the TNT Championship because of this spot. So that's why it didn't need to happen. He's going to miss Forbidden Door. He might miss Wembley because of this. So
I get what he was going for. That would have been a badass spot. And in all intents and purposes, should have been the finish of the match. But listening to various reviews brought up a couple of things. Number one, literally Copeland just recently said on an interview with Chris Van Vliet that Matt Hardy's hip is still fucked up to this day because of that cage spot they did in 05.
Yep.
And also, Macho Man Randy Savage fucked himself up doing that in WCW. I get it. I really do. I get what he's trying to do here. He's in the final years of his career. He wants to do shit that WWE wouldn't let him do. But at the same time, there's probably a reason why WWE wouldn't let you do this stuff. And
yeah,
of course, nobody deserves this. I am very upset that Copeland is injured now. But this was unnecessary. This could have been prevented.
Yeah.
Or they could have did. I get it. Spectacle. Pro wrestling's all about spectacle. If we didn't have spectacle, we wouldn't have crazy things like Matt jumping off the cage, like Mankind getting thrown off the cell. These guys literally give their bodies just so we can go, holy shit, that was cool. But it's so unnecessary.
It is.
Copeland and his age.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, I would say this is, oddly enough, the most unsafe spot anybody took all night. And that's considering the fact that Darby Allin is in the main event. So yeah. I'm saying this out of pure love for Edge, out of pure love for Adam Copeland, you know? Like, it sucks that he's injured, but he did not need to do that. He did not need to do that, especially with how injured he's already been throughout his career. So, of course...
At least it was just his ankles. It's not like he fucking broke his neck again.
No, he didn't break his neck, but the tibia is the most painful bone in the body that you can break. So I'm sure this sucks.
And we are talking about a man who over 10 years ago did have a torn Achilles heel.
Yep.
So that probably does not help matters.
Yeah. So with that in mind, of course, Malakai kicks out of that elbow drop or whatever that was. Then he hits Copeland with the black mass for a very close near fall. I'll
give you a pass on that one. It's technically called the end, but I didn't know that. I genuinely didn't know that.
well, the black mass is a better name anyway. So, Adam Copeland kicks out of that. That's a move that usually ends matches for Malakai.
You know what I used to say in NXT? Black mass, black wins.
Yep. Yeah.
Wish I could say that in AEW.
Black does not win with the black mass. Then he picks up like this metal spool with barbed wire on it, tries to stab Copeland with it, which prompts the crowd to chant, "What is that?" Like, I honestly didn't know what it was. So that's
Solid Monster called it a spool. Well, that's the biggest spool I've ever seen in my life.
Perfectly justified chant. So Copeland then goes for a spear, misses Malakai, and that is enough. The brute force of it propels that cage door wide open, and Copeland takes a tumble out to the floor. Unless he did spear Malakai to the floor. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
I actually missed that spot. I must have not been paying attention for a second. But this spot right here actually piqued my interest a little. because Brody King and Buddy Matthews of the House of Black come out. They're about to gang up on Copeland, and they switch to his side. And I'm like, holy shit. And the minute that happened, I'm like, this is it. This is Malakai's swan song. He's getting written off after this night. But then, of course, can't have anything cool. They immediately turn around and beat the shit out of Copeland. They got me. They got me for a second. I will give them that.
They wrap Adam Copeland up in barbed wire and actually put a barbed wire crown, like they're gonna crucify him, on his head.
That was fucking cool.
It was.
We'll give him that too.
It was cool, but considering the fact that Jesus Christ himself was sitting in the front row, shaking hands with Will Ospreay after the opening contest, yeah, that's very offensive. Yeah, they should have known better.
I'm pretty sure Jesus was sipping on a beer and went, "Sick man."
Jesus Christ, indeed. So they're gonna go beat up on Edge some more, but then the lights dim to red. Yeah, they start to like hear this creepy music popping up, and I'm like, who's gonna run in? Little did I know.
You knew who was gonna run in. You fucking knew.
I didn't think
the minute House of Black came in the ring, I knew that was gonna happen.
I didn't think that it was actually going to happen, though. So it didn't cross my mind, because it was rumored that Gangrel was going to pop up in Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. And the reason why they didn't do it is because they were worried that the fans would not remember who Gangrel was. So I'm sitting here like,
they didn't do it.
Well, they did it here, and it's almost like a flex. Yeah, you've been watching the program since 1999 when these guys came on the scene, and you're rewarded for, paying attention for that long and knowing your wrestling history. So Gangrel is beating up both other members of the House of Black pretty much by himself, evens up the odds, and then Copeland locks in his crossface on Malakai with the barbed wire around his face. That is just a disgusting way to end the match, but Malakai does not tap out. He passes out, and the referee stops the match. Edge retains the TNT Championship, which is to be vacated, I'm sure, because of the fractured tibia. I'm going to go 4 1/4. I really enjoyed this, man. Really enjoyed this.
I'll give it 4 stars. It was very dramatic. It was very violent. I don't know. These matches don't really do anything for me, especially when there's multiple in one night. Sure, the spectacle was cool. I'm going to be very biased. We were at WrestleMania. We saw the cool-ass entrance. I liked Hell in a Cell. Fucking string me up by my feet now like Darby Allin. I preferred that more.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Take of the year. Call me a shill. Call me an elitist. Whatever you want to do.
I think I need to watch both matches again, but my gut is saying that this match was objectively better, even though I loved seeing that Hell in a Cell match live. But there were things that happened during that Hell in a Cell that were out of their control, and they could have had a much better match than they did. Now the shackles are off here, and I feel like with no limitations, Edge's imagination just started running wild, and him and Malakai went out there and they had really good chemistry as well. I cannot overlook that.
This is the last of my opinions I'll give. AEW want to fucking sit there and say, we don't care about WWE. You have Adam Copeland, who his whole career was in WWE, referencing his WWE faction with a former WWE legend showing up. Come on. Just come the fuck on. I don't mean to be a shill, but I just can't help but think about that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. Like, they say Copeland is a former world champion. From where?
Where?
They say him and Christian Cage having a tag team check. From where? From fucking where?
7-time.
Throw a fucking pair like TNA and just say WWE. Mm-hmm. TNA references WWE all the fucking time. It will not be the end of the world if you just say WWE. And you know what, WWE? Other fucking way around. Say Cody Rhodes came from AEW. Say Jade Cargill came from AEW.
Say CM Punk came from AEW. He spent 11 years away from WWE, and he went over to Jacksonville for a cup of coffee, got into some trouble, was eating some muffins on his way out. But, it's like, I agree with what you're saying. But
do you think, though, this is the end for Malakai? I don't know his contract status, but it's like, what the fuck else do they do with him now?
I don't know, man. I honestly wish I could give you a straight up answer, but I can't.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder.
It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before Triple H takes him back. So
it fucking sucks that Copeland is injured. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery and we see him back in the ring soon.
Yeah. Best wishes and get well soon to Edge. So
Ooh, I know you're going to get mad.
I want to leave. I want to get up and leave now.
For the TBS title, it is Willow Nightingale, who we all love with our hearts.
Fuck this.
Where are you going?
I'm done.
I'm not doing this review by myself. So, anywho, up next for us is WWE Clash at the Castle coming up in 3 weeks, I think. And
let's talk about this. Let's talk about this match.
Willow Nightingale is defending her TBS title against the debuting CEO Mercedes Moné.
Oh, I get it. CEO, because you can't call her the boss.
You see why I was annoyed with the last match?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to hear something even crazier? Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks.
Yep. Yeah, so
how did we get here?
Do we even? Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares at this point? Like,
Moné
so Sasha
in AEW.
Sasha Banks
Moné.
Yeah.
Moné arrived in AEW, big business in Boston. They made a huge freaking deal about it, and she hasn't had a match yet. But Nightingale won the TBS title at Dynasty, as we reviewed, and Moné just showed up, and she said, "I get a title shot now." The floor is yours.
Where in God's green earth is this even okay? Like, somebody makes their debut, and like WWE's guilty of this too, so they're not off the hook. But that doesn't mean that AEW gets to go and make the same mistakes. This is why it's so frustrating to me. Like, Sasha Banks, very unprofessionally, mind you, throws the women's tag team titles on the desk of Johnny Douchebag and leaves WWE. Triple H wanted to bring her back too. Like, I hate to come off like an irrational WWE shill right now, but when you bring Mercedes in, which is not a bad idea whatsoever. I love seeing her in The Mandalorian. She is a very valuable asset to any roster she becomes a part of. She is a very good professional wrestler. Okay? Let me just put that out of the way. But when you have a video package centered around her, and she's comparing herself to Rosa Parks, RBG, Amelia Earhart, like she's the greatest fucking thing to ever happen to women's wrestling, I'm sorry, no. You don't have Sasha Banks without the rest of the horsewomen, okay?
You want a cherry on top of that?
Yeah.
Mercedes Moné even went out of her way to say in an interview recently that she will be back in WWE. Sure, Tony Khan was pulling his hair out over that
one. No, really? I didn't even hear that interview. That's fucking nuts. That is nuts. Why?
I want to say this was like a month ago. So
Tony, you fucking hypocrite. You fucking hypocrite, Tony.
Moné comes out to a whole ass fucking WrestleMania entrance.
I wanted Willow to win so bad.
Marching band with the light up glasses and the light up coats, and I will admit the theme song is catchy. The theme song is very catchy.
I mean, even though you can't call her the boss because that's obviously IP somewhere else, but
and Moné comes out, and I just can't help but think, wow, she really thinks she's the greatest professional wrestler on the planet. Oh wait, she does, because after this match, she went on record to say, "I am the greatest women's wrestler of all time."
No. I mean, here's my thing. I mean, obviously, big difference in believing in yourself. Do I think that Cody Rhodes is the greatest wrestler of all time? No. But you don't hear Cody Rhodes he wants to be the quarterback, right? He wants to be considered as the greatest, but he hasn't really had that many opportunities. Mercedes has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to prove that she's the greatest women's wrestler of all time, and I feel like she's overshadowed by a lot of people that were better than her. Charlotte Flair, Bayley.
Do I think
Becky Lynch?
Mercedes Moné is good? Yes, I do.
I never said she was bad. Never said she was bad.
I'm saying on my behalf. I can recall plenty of WWE matches that I thought were excellent. Her versus Bianca Belair, her wars, the Iron Woman match with Charlotte Flair, thought it was great. The
That was
Iron
awesome.
Woman match she had with Bayley was great. She is definitely a staple in women's wrestling, but they have just so overhyped her. Not just in AEW. I'm not putting this on AEW. Just in general, she has overhyped herself to the point where I'm like, you're not that fucking good.
Yeah.
Another point, they announce her as a former 6-time women's world champion. AEW, where did 5 of those titles come from?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to say it.
Nope.
You know where she came from. And this is why you're giving her so much pomp and circumstance, because Tony Khan might as well have pulled his eyelid, stuck his tongue out in Triple H, and said, haha, we got her.
Yeah, big whoop. She wins a mid-card title. I wanted Willow to win this match so badly, in case you couldn't
Willow
tell.
Nightingale comes out, and I do think they did an excellent job of not making her the underdog, because and it really sucks to be saying this because we know what happens after this match, her getting hyped up by Stokely Hathaway and Chris Statlander was so cool, and they really made her out there to be like, don't forget, this is the champion right here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I will
Thank
say
you, Chris.
Very hyped for this match.
Oh, yeah. No, the crowd, there was so much crowd heat in this thing. There were dueling chants of let's go Willow, CEO, the logical people who are seeing that Mercedes is being shoved down their throats right now. Yeah, they recognize that. And night one, without even earning a title match, Mercedes Moné debuts, gets the TBS Championship from Willow Nightingale. Do we even bother going through play-by-play? Because, like, there was...
I thought it was good. I thought Nightingale had an excellent showing in this match.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a horrible match. I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, it was a good match. Not a great match,
it had a big fight feel to it. I will give credit where credit is due. I thought.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem.
This is one of like Nightingale's best shows.
Sorry to cut you off, but here's the problem. You say it had a big fight feel. You felt like this was for the world title, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the TBS title is undoubtedly the mid-card championship. Like, no question about it. It's annoying as hell to me.
Props for them for elevating it a little, for making it feel more important.
But in that case, don't have your women's world championship on the undercard before this match. Like, you gotta find those levels. You know? Like, you gotta establish who's a main eventer and who's a mid-carder. Like, it's annoying.
Fair enough. I get it. You can't say Moné isn't a big star, so to put her in this position, to kind of, it takes 2 to tango. I'm not saying, Moné and Moné alone is going to elevate this division. I think Nightingale is excellent. I think she's AEW's answer to Bayley, like early 2015 Bayley. She is genuinely over with the crowd, so much to the point where, look, despite your feelings towards Moné, if she wasn't wrestling Willow Nightingale, we wouldn't care that much. But we like Willow Nightingale. So that brought up some sort of emotion in us where we wanted to see Nightingale retain this title. So I just don't want them to forget about her, and they're not, clearly. But it does suck that Nightingale dropped this title, 6 weeks after she won it. And it pissed me off when the commentator said, Willow Nightingale's been a fighting champion. You haven't given her a chance to be a fighting champion.
Yeah, and these commentators are going, like, off the cuff and just saying, like, you have to earn your stay in AEW. You have to earn these title shots. Motherfuckers, where did Mercedes earn this title shot? Like, tell me where Mercedes earned this. I'll wait.
Yeah.
She did not earn it.
What I'm going to say is very crazy. At least they're making CM Punk earn a world championship match in WWE.
How crazy is that?
Before he got injured, he was going to win Elimination Chamber. At least he would have earned his world title shot.
Mm-hmm. And let me make this point very clear. I am not, like I said, I'm not against the idea of Mercedes jumping ship to AEW. Because honestly, anybody jumping ship to the other side is what makes wrestling fun. Honestly, seeing Edge jump to AEW during Wrestle Dream, that was a really cool visual. CM Punk obviously coming back at Survivor Series last year. Fucking surreal. Never thought I would see it ever again. Mercedes...
I think what you're trying to say is this isn't an AEW problem. This is a Mercedes Moné problem.
Correct. Mercedes, there's nothing wrong with having a belief in yourself. But basically putting yourself on this pedestal and saying you're the greatest wrestler of all time. And Stone Cold Steve Austin has always said, if you don't want to be the best in the business, then why the fuck are you doing it? It's just the way Mercedes is carrying herself. It's like she did all this work to revolutionize women's wrestling on her own, when that is far from the truth. That is very far from the truth.
Especially when there's fan footage of her screaming at fans just for having a question.
Yeah.
A fan innocently just asked, why did you leave WWE? And Mercedes Moné screamed back at him, it's in my fucking book. Read my fucking book. Okay, then why are you fucking asking me? I'm like, motherfucker, that dude paid $80 to meet you. I think he can ask you whatever the fuck he wants.
Right. Yeah.
There's a difference between cocky and being confident.
Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, this is really upping my allergies now. My dander is up.
To Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, my dander is up that I can't well, I mean, yeah, I don't even remember how Mercedes won this match. I remember enjoying it.
With her shitty finisher.
What, the bank statement?
No. I like the bank statement.
Oh, the Moné maker?
Yeah.
Oh, good lord. Yeah, and she pins
and the
Willow
Moné
Nightingale.
Isn't even the bank statement. It's just this shitty move that I can't even remember.
Yeah, goodness gracious. But, yeah, was there any doubt Mercedes Moné wins the title?
It was the move she botched on Kairi Sane when she debuted in New Japan. That move.
Oh, you mean in San Jose, a show I almost went to?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of Mercedes Moné, mind you. So, you can understand why I'm feeling a little bit, not betrayed, that's not the word I'm looking for. Just a little, I don't know, I'll find the word. Yeah, I'm disappointed in how Mercedes is conducting herself. But
I'm going to give it 3.25 stars. Like I said, it was a fine match. It was a fine ladies match. They got 18 minutes, which is good.
People
I think the crowd really helped this match come alive.
The crowd helped this match come alive, and everybody and their people like this match way more than they should. I'm in a match at 3.25. It wasn't a terrible match, but is it too far out of the question to say that Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb was better? Even though
wrestling-wise,
yeah, because Toni Storm is greater than Mercedes Moné. I said it.
It wasn't the finish. It wasn't the outcome of this match that surprised me. It was the aftermath, because me and you have been speculating ever since the Dynasty review, where's this Stokely Hathaway and Chris Statlander dynamic going to? Hathaway isn't really a babyface manager. I'm going to say he's the Black Paul Heyman. I think he's excellent, but he is the best as a heel. So I just thought this transformation for him was very odd. So Statlander comes in the ring and starts comforting Nightingale, but Hathaway is fucking pissed. He's screaming at Nightingale, saying, how could you lose the title? And Statlander shoves his Steve Harvey looking ass to the ground. I say that because Hathaway is great with the comeback, so we got to insult him too. And, I was thinking that, I was like, oh, well, that's great. They're going to kick Hathaway to the side, and, Statlander and Nightingale back to the drawing board. They go halfway up the ramp, and Statlander pulls the trigger and fucking clotheslines Nightingale's ass to the ground. That genuinely took me by surprise. I was not expecting Statlander to turn heel.
Yeah. So I was going to make a comparison earlier when you mentioned Willow Nightingale being another Bayley. Is it too far-fetched to say that Willow Nightingale is a female Sami Zayn?
I don't see it personally, but...
Well,
okay.
NXT TakeOver R Evolution has something to say about this angle, because Statlander, the way she slammed Willow to the ground was exactly like Kevin Owens slammed Sami to the ground. Exactly the same. The only difference between those two angles is you have Stokely Hathaway influencing Chris Statlander to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So
they beat down Nightingale, they leave her for dead, they walk out, and there you go. There's your new heel pairing there, Statlander and Hathaway. And I think that's going to be a fun feud. I think Nightingale and Statlander can have some fun matches together.
Super refreshing. I dig it. So I'm glad that this overshadowed the obvious title victory for Mercedes. Yes. So... up next in the second of the triple main event, as they marketed it, Swerve Strickland, our boy, defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Christian Cage, who was given this opportunity by the New Elite. Now, some of you might be wondering, Zach, how is this any different from the last match where Mercedes Moné did not earn this title shot? The difference is Christian Cage is a villain, right? He's a dastardly villain, given the shot by the Evie Petties, who are the biggest villains on the roster, and Mercedes is treated like a homecoming hero. That's the difference.
And
that's why I'm not annoyed.
They constantly bring it up on commentary, how Christian Cage was gifted this title opportunity by the Bucks. So they're acknowledging that, and it is woven into the storyline pretty perfectly. But did you know that Christian Cage is compassionate? Did you know that Christian Cage is sympathetic?
Yep, I did.
Did you know
that
Christian Cage is the father of the year?
Oh, Christian Cage should be everybody's father, honestly. You know, everybody would be so lucky.
Nick Wayne's father.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And they allude back to before All In. Remember when Swerve and Christian were actually tag team partners in that coffin match? They allude to that. They allude to Swerve beating the absolute piss out of Nick Wayne and bloodying him up before All In. And Christian is basically like, "You bloodied my son. How dare you? I'm coming for revenge."
He's not his son.
It's the best fucking character in AEW.
And I did enjoy the build to this because every week Christian Cage took something from Swerve Strickland. 1 week he cut off one of his dreads. The next week he threatened to take the gold teeth out of Swerve Strickland's mouth, but he swerved him. See what I did there? And he took the Mogul Embassy from Strickland. The Mogul Embassy turned on Strickland, put him through a table. So every single week it's like they're putting Swerve Strickland in these like he's putting his back against the wall. He's taking everything from him.
These are impossible odds for a babyface, huh?
Especially with Cage and Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne and Killswitch all there to make sure he does not win this title. And let's talk about this now. I love this entrance so much. Prince Nana comes out. Yes, Prince Nana comes out with the bottles on his fingers.
The beer bottles.
The beer bottles, clinking them, saying, "Swerve, come out and play." Strickland's music hits, and Strickland is dressed as one of the OG Warriors. I fucking love that because I love that fucking movie.
What a reference.
The only thing missing was Prince Nana going, "Can you dig it?" And that would have made my night.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, that would have been freaking awesome. But Swerve comes out, everybody's dancing to his music, and
Are they actually all dancing to it?
Yeah, no, Swerve is showing them how to nay-nay. But anyway.
This teaching how to nay-nay?
Yeah, this was fucking awesome. I love this match. I don't know what you didn't see in it. I thought this was a very competitive...
I didn't like it. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a great match.
This was a very competitive World Heavyweight Championship match here.
Why did they put Christian in a cage?
I'm not listening to you.
That was my only problem with the match. Why did they put Christian in the cage?
Well, Christian jumps off the top with a frog splash. There's some good near falls early on. There's just really nice professional wrestling here. They have really good chemistry. Nick Wayne with a cheap shot on Swerve, and the referee does not see it. Constant like
that I want to see Nick Wayne and Dominic Mysterio cut a promo against each other.
Oh, man. I mean, Nick Wayne isn't getting all the ladies like Dominic Mysterio is, so I'm sure Dominic would eviscerate him.
I want to see Christian Cage cut a promo on Dom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, the whole patriarchy versus the whole Judgment Day. That'd be sick.
Oh, that'd be fucking awesome if both companies would grow a pair of balls and give us an actual Forbidden Door pay-per-view. But, so... So Christian has the sharpshooter locked in, and the whole big story of this match was all the interference on the outside and all the bells and whistles going on with all the managers. Mother Wayne has the AEW World Heavyweight title belt. Prince Nana swipes it out of her hands, and he's standing on the steel steps, and he's scolding Mama Wayne. The referee turns around, he sees Prince Nana with the title belt. It's a classic Eddie Guerrero-style spot. He ejects Prince Nana, which the crowd absolutely fucking hates, because Prince Nana's the man, and they start chanting.
Man, how's he gonna buy his weed now?
I know, right? Yeah.
How's he gonna buy his weed?
How's he gonna get his... Is he getting paid by the minute that he's out there?
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. So,
come on, you don't know how wrestling managers work.
Yeah, then Christian Cage takes advantage of this 4-on-1 advantage. He is occupying the referee. Kill Switch / Luchasaurus nails Swerve with a clothesline on the outside. Nick Wayne is kicking the shit out of Swerve, just stomping him like nobody else. and then the referee finally catches Luchasaurus trying to hit a move on Swerve on the outside. And I love this. I love this visual though. The crowd actually like does the whole motion with the referee, and they like point towards the back, and they actually do chant "na na na na, hey hey hey, goodbye."
Nana at Nana.
Yeah, even though Nana wasn't out there.
This was so overbooked, but in the best way possible, because you got to consider who's in the match. Christian Cage is in the match. Yes, he is a great wrestler, but you need all of this. It's just like Logan Paul.
Yeah,
it's just like the Logan Paul Cody Rhodes match. Like I said there, it was overbooked, but in the best way possible because the heel benefits from that overbooking. Christian Cage is the same way. He has evolved, and at this point in his career, yes, he can produce an excellent match, but if you don't let the character work go into this match, then it's not going to be as good. So I think this was all 100% necessary.
Yeah, the second half of the match was so freaking dramatic, too. And there were points, even though I'm sure most people were predicting Swerve to retain the championship, Christian made you believe, man. He made you believe that he was probably going to pull it off. And
that's what makes a good heel.
There was a nasty spot out on the Spanish announce table where Swerve hits the Swerve Stomp, and Christian does not go through the Spanish announce table, which is not a table, mind you. It's the Spanish announce
fucking bunker.
Those tables, to your point, were so high off the ground. Like you could take those. Metal. Yeah, you could take those into the war zones, and you'd probably be very, very safe. So
yeah, you heard the fucking thump when Swerve Strickland hit that stomp. Like, that was not an announce table. That was a fucking announce bunker.
What are you talking about, thump? Junkyard Dog wasn't in this match. Had to get that one. But Christian back in the ring. They're doing just fine. Christian, I believe he hits the kill switch, and he goes for the pinfall, but no new champion there. Oh man, the house call kick out of midair. I love Swerve, but that was number one. That was perfectly timed. That house call should be his fucking finisher. Like the Swerve Stomp, his finisher. The Swerve Stomp is a great move, but it takes too much setup. So I'm glad you're saying that.
Driver too, but the house call is a perfect move. Like you said, he hits one out of midair, and then he hits another one right in the fucking side of Christian's temple, and that is enough to put the patriarchy down. Swerve Strickland retains the AEW World Championship. He's such a great world champion, and he needs to main event more pay-per-views. I know people are kind of scared that Strickland is being booked like a world champion, and hopefully the more title defenses he racks up, he proves that him and Cody Rhodes, I feel like, are the most underdog world champions we've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
And they're both proving me wrong. I love Swerve Strickland. I love Cody Rhodes. They're both Black world champions. And they're both making the business proud right now.
Well, I mean, considering the fact you have three world champions that are black: Cody Rhodes, Swerve Strickland, and Trick Williams in NXT.
Yeah,
don't forget him. So
great. We're breaking barriers here. I'm gonna give this 4.25 stars. I thought it was excellent.
I'm gonna match it.
Perfect in this scenario, and it made Strickland come out very strong. You know, I was a little nervous going into this match, but I think Christian Cage was the perfect first opponent.
I like this match more than the Samoa Joe match at Dynasty.
Yeah,
all due respect to Joe. I mean, Christian and Swerve, I think, melded together much better. I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed this match. What the fuck is professional wrestling anymore? How do you even want to describe this main event, Tomas? How do you even want to describe it?
I was going into this match with zero expectations because we've seen a few of these now. And I thought it was just going to be... I mean, it was structured similarly, but I just thought when you've been watching pro wrestling for 22 years, you think you've seen it all.
Yeah.
And then there's always that match to prove you wrong every single time. It's Anarchy in the Arena time. It is the new elite of Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks, the Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada, and the scapegoat Jack Perry, taking on Team AEW, which is the American Dragon Bryan Danielson, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood FTR, and a returning Darby Allin.
Hey,
this
Tomas.
motherfucker will not die.
Hey, Tomas. Welcome to the shit show. He doesn't like the dapper yapper. He doesn't like the dapper yapper. But hey, I think those intros to Anarchy in the Arena are funny. I don't care. I do not care. Justin Roberts, I do think he is not the best ring announcer in the business. That distinction goes to Samantha Irvin, but at least Justin Roberts, like, he sells it like he doesn't know what he's about to see. And
when he has seen shit like this before,
at least give him
shit like this every single week. What makes this different than a fucking barbed wire steel cage match? How come that wasn't a shit show, huh?
Well, this match was way more violent than the barbed wire steel cage match, that's for sure. I'll tell you that much.
So how did we get here? I don't want to talk about this build too much because there's way too much going into it. Long story short, after the Young Bucks won the tag team titles, they pile drove Tony Khan.
Yep, they gave him.
This is our company now.
They Jack Perry joined the Elite and threw Tony Khan into a gigantic BTE trigger and a Meltzer driver in Daly's place.
Indie Taker.
It is the Indie Taker. Yeah. So, in any case, so what happens is everybody on the heel side gets their normal ass entrances, but then
but we should talk about real quick. There is like a resistance group of AEW originals that want to take out the Elite. It's Bryan Danielson. It's FTR. It's originally Eddie Kingston. But, man, you know what? The injuries finally caught up with Eddie Kingston. He's got to take time off. So who takes his place? Darby Allin.
Who's even more injured than Eddie Kingston is. Yeah, which is
because
crazy.
Darby Allin comes into the arena with a fucking flamethrower.
Yep. That was on the Go Home Dynamite, and we'll get to that flamethrower. We will get to that flamethrower.
Allin has broken his ankle, and he's been hit by a bus. And in an interview before Double or Nothing, he said, I knew I wasn't ready, but I felt like I had to do this. So he begged the doctors to clear him.
Hey, it's better than
know what
it's better than
means.
It's better than climbing Mount fucking Everest, right?
This man just
like
fails to surprise me.
Yeah. This guy, I don't know. He's I'm starting to be convinced that he's not human. So, Jack Perry's music is hitting. This was the best fucking thing. I did love it. It was awesome. So, Jack Perry's music is hitting, and he's about to make his entrance. But FTR and Bryan Danielson don't want to wait, so they attack Okada. They attack the Bucks while Jack Perry is making his entrance. And I didn't even see Jack Perry come down the ramp. I just see all this brawling going on, and there he is. There's Jack Perry. I'm like, okay, this is what this match is going to be like production-wise. Darby Allin's music then hits. He comes down to the ring. He's got a big face mask because he's got a broken fucking nose. There are thumbtacks studded on this face mask.
Because of course there are.
He's a fucking lunatic, man. Darby Allin's music is playing as all four guys are brawling, as per tradition with Anarchy in the Arena. We got Wild Thing the first time around. We got Wild Thing live last year. But Darby Allin's music starts playing, and then Matthew Jackson gets on the microphone and is like, you know what, production monkeys, cut that shit off. We're gonna play our new theme song, which is like it's more annoying than MJF's theme, the more I think about it. Like, at least MJF is a babyface, and I can get behind it. So there's brawling going on while the Bucks theme is going on. Bryan Danielson gets on the horn and he's like, cut that shit off! Danielson is awesome. He's like, let's play the greatest theme song in the history of pro wrestling. And I was thinking in the back of my mind, they're not going to play Cult of Personality just to fuck with the Bucks, are they? They're not going to play Cult of Personality. They wouldn't do that. And thankfully, there was no real glass in this. Go cry me a river, Tomas. There was no Cult of Personality, no CM Punk references. I'm glad that they kept it just an AEW story. So Danielson says, start playing the theme song, and it's the final countdown. And the crowd is just...
Oh, what a big surprise.
This is anarchy! This is just pure pandemonium all throughout the arena. And I love Darby Allin's coffin drop off of the concourse, off the top of the concourse. He does the coffin drop right at the crescendo to the first chorus. It was awesome. And then... suddenly, you cut to Matthew, who's brawling with Dax up towards the concessions area. Somehow he has a microphone, and he's like, no, turn that off, we're on a budget, that costs us $200,000 every show we use. Like, I don't like the Bucks anymore, but that was funny. That was funny. I'll give them that.
So these matches, I feel like, are always structured the same. It always starts out with a huge crowd brawl, and then it gets into the big gnarly spots. And I didn't know what I was going to expect, and I still don't know what I expected. So the first thing is Alan and Perry are fighting in the backstage area. Alan tries to drown Jack Perry in an ice bath, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
And then I guess I don't know if this was a production thing or if I just wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, this bus comes out of fucking nowhere. And Darby Allin got hit by a bus, so we got hit by a bus again. And Perry is like passed out at the wheel. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what happened there.
I'll tell you what happened. Jack Perry pulled his best Rikishi impression on Stone Cold Steve Austin 25 years after the fact. Right?
So some of the other crazier spots, they were fighting on the stage for a bit. There was a tombstone pile driver on the poker chip to Danielson.
Meltzer driver, Indy Taker.
Tombstone, Indy Taker on the poker chip to Danielson.
Yes.
You know what? I feel like FTR didn't do too much in this match.
I mean, like, FTR's main contributions to this were wrestling the Young Bucks again, and it was good, but I've seen those two teams wrestle a million times at this point. The novelty's kind of gone.
I'm just gonna like fire off some spots because this is one of those matches I can't even like. There was this one weird spot where it was with the elevator. Like the Bucks grabbed Darby Allin and they just lower it. I'm like,
that was so awkward.
The hell?
That was so awkward. Are they gonna set that spot on fire? Lo and behold,
were they gonna?
Yeah.
There was a part where Okada was in the ring and he delivers a Rainmaker lariat to one of the FTR guys.
On Cash.
On Cash Wheeler, but his armband is studded with thumbtacks. And I'm like,
of course it was. Yeah.
Also, that's the only thing I remember Okada doing in this match.
No, Okada was really funny in this match. I don't like there was a point where he was beating up Danielson out there, and they're rekindling their Forbidden Door feud from last year. He holds up a street sign that says, "This is Rainmaker Drive." Like, oh my God! What kind of restaurants do you think? What kind of restaurants do you think they have on Rainmaker Drive?
I love how easily amused you are about things in wrestling.
Hey, I thought it was funny. I think Okada's a great heel.
Yeah, he is. I just love how easily amused you are with things in wrestling.
Well, every time I go to a play or a musical that my friends are in, I'm a good laugher. I'm a good laugher.
You are.
Anyway, Rainmaker Drive. What kind of? Again, you never answered my question. What restaurants?
I don't know.
No,
McDonald's.
I would hope there's a McDonald's on every block these days.
Starbucks.
There's definitely a Starbucks every block. You would know. Okada goes in there. FTR is, they're beating him up in the ring. They do the Indy Taker on the poker chip. There was a missed opportunity here. Cash throws Nicholas into that LED screen where the slot machines are. There was a huge missed opportunity for comedy there, I think. Because imagine if he had thrown Nicholas into that little slot machine and it made the slot machine go. You get cherry, bar, and then Cash is like, damn it! You know?
There's also a part. Wait, what am I reading here? There was like a swanton off the stage through a table that Nicholas performed. That was pretty cool. But
that was a nice spot.
This spot. So Jack Perry is emerging from the car crash.
Yeah, somehow
through the gorilla position.
He somehow survives.
This was funny. He sees Tony Khan and he just fucking grabs him by the collar and starts dragging him out. And I'm just like, God damn, motherfucker's just trying to do his job. So he grabs Tony Khan and he pulls him out to the stage. And I'm like, and I noticed that Perry is like glistening and he's doused in something.
He is wet.
It clicked in my mind. Oh, fuck. I know what they're going to do. Are they really going to do this, though? Darby Allin emerges from that elevator.
He does.
He's got the fucking flamethrower. And he sets Jack Perry on fire.
He does. Jack Perry is an inferno. Thankfully, he was not burned to a crisp, just like Bray Wyatt was at TLC. But the Young Bucks, who I believe are like volunteer firemen outside of being pro wrestlers, they put Jack Perry out. And the announcers are like, what the fuck did we just watch? And they're all solemn.
I'm also going to give I'm gonna give some leeway to this because I saw the Young Bucks off to the side and I saw fire extinguishers, so it was just like someone's getting set on fire. And you know what? This is a very dangerous spot to do. So whatever fourth wall breaking they had to do is fine because someone's getting set on fire. They cannot risk somebody actually getting burned.
Yeah.
And I will give them credit too. They let Perry stay on fire for a good few seconds before immediately putting him out.
Perry,
and they did have like firefighters on standby to like drape a cloth over Perry just to make sure like none of that actually got you, right?
Yo, I know what I said about Perry during the Dynasty review and how nobody cares that he's fucking back, but him getting set on fire, he did not need to get himself set on fire in this match, but not since CM Punk, ironically enough, have I had a more love-hate relationship with a wrestler. Like, Jack Perry, I thought he was going to be one of AEW's brightest stars, especially around this point. Like, he had that cage match against Luchasaurus. I don't know if you remember that one.
We called him Jungle Man.
Yeah.
We christened him Jungle Man on that show.
Definitely a jungle man now, and then he goes and does some petty stuff in real life, like tell Tomas that he's just here, you know.
I want to give him the Jungle Man moniker. He's working his way back up.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, I don't have a love-hate relationship with him. I just don't really care about him. But brownie points, major brownie points for getting set on fucking fire. That's a first for me. I've never seen someone lit on fire before in a pro wrestling match.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen an Inferno match or not.
Well, I mean, actually straight up set on fire like that.
Right.
MVP, the back of his suit got a little burn. Kane, he had the glove on. But someone straight up doused in flames like that, that was wild.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Singe any of his hair off is crazy.
Absolutely did not need to do that, but then we get, believe it or not, there's still more to go. The Elite has heat on Darby Allin in the ring, and they look up towards the ceiling, and they're like, bring it down! And I'm like, are they going to bring down the fucking cage again? Like, that's what I was thinking. You know, like, I thought they were going to bring down the cage and just beat up Darby 3-on-1. But no, it is a metal hook. They take a long time with this, and they don't think to cover Darby Allin, even though he's been beat to smithereens. He is hogtied, and he's raised up.
That,
yeah.
I love this spot from FTR, because one by one, Wheeler gets on the apron, he gets knocked down. Harwood gets on the apron, he gets knocked down. Wheeler gets on the apron, gets knocked down. Harwood gets on the apron. It's like, okay, when are you guys going to stop doing that?
This spot takes forever to set up.
Harwood is finally able to get in the ring. They start fighting back. They hit a shatter machine on one of the Bucks, I want to say. And then Okada comes out of fucking nowhere and hits Harwood with an exploding steel chair.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
An exploding chair, a callback to last year with the exploding super kick, if you remember that. Darby Allin is then raised up, and he is hanging upside down. All the blood, I'm sure, is rushing to his head, even though he already has a broken nose that he's working with. And this prompts the crowd, who has been great this entire match. They were chanting, "We want music," after Matthews stopped the final countdown. They were also chanting, I would have fucking loved music, but Darby is hanging upside down, and they're now beating up Bryan Danielson 3-on-1, and the crowd is now chanting, "Please help Darby." And I'm like, yeah, this fucker is going to have all the blood rushing to his head. He takes a super kick. With the Young Bucks' new, like, oh, yeah, you want to talk about stealing WWE's gimmicks? Yeah, just because Roman Reigns has a shoe does not mean that you need one, Bucks.
I wouldn't say that. The Bucks have always been shoe guys.
Well,
so that's not a stealing thing.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And they've had a deal with Reebok like for forever, so that's not a stolen idea. I was going to say, oh, yeah, those are the new Reeboks. What? They do have a deal with Reebok. You can't assume they're just stealing everything.
I know. Roman Reigns has his own Jordans coming out, though. So they announced
it's coincidental. Did you know that the Young Bucks once got in a Twitter battle with Top Dollar over shoes?
Well, at least the Young Bucks can go over the top rope, right?
Dollar should have showed up in this match. It would have been a game changer for AEW.
Oh, that would have been fucking hilarious. But the Bucks then have these shoes, which Okada like reveals in a shoebox. He's like, "Try these on."
I would love a pair of those shoes now.
Fucking Okada's hilarious. The
Let
Bucks.
me guess. You would rather have the Roman Reigns Jordans as opposed to the Young Buck Reeboks.
Yes, because at least Roman Reigns is not petty right now. The Bucks put these shoes on and they have thumbtacks glued to the bottom of them, and they super kick Darby right in the fucking face with these thumbtacks. And
I want you to think about that for a second. Somebody back there in props spent the whole day gluing thumbtacks to shoes.
Yeah. Only for those thumbtacks to fall right off. Only for those thumbtacks to fall right off after the super kick. So, Danielson, it's so great, though, because Danielson then hits the running knee on Okada. He reaches up to try and help Darby. Then Jack Perry, who somehow is still standing after being set on fucking fire, he hits his own running knee on Danielson, and he pins him. He pins Bryan Danielson.
But not before Danielson came back and tried to fight back. He had a couple of Psycho knees of his own. And then, like you said, Perry gets the pin. And you know what? I'm okay with this.
Me too.
This is called getting heat.
Yep.
And you know what? I can't sit here and say, oh, they did the O'Reilly and Strong thing. They did that too soon and there was nothing left to do. If the babyfaces would have won here, the storyline's dead.
Yeah, at least Danielson knows to invest in the future of the business, and he knows to put over the young studs. Wow. So
I just feel like this was necessary to just get the Elite some heat. You have Okada, you have Perry, you have the Bucks. Not saying Danielson, FTR, and Darby Allin don't deserve a win, but I think this heel faction deserves. They need the heat.
Yeah,
so
and
I thought this was a perfect finish.
The Elite needed to win this match to further the story that they were trying to tell, which is AEW is up in anarchy. It is chaos. Like, you have no idea who's in charge right now. The Elite want to be in charge. Yeah.
Anarchy in the arena?
Oh, yeah. This was anarchy in the arena. I'm going to go 4.5 stars, I want to say. I really enjoyed this.
I'm going to say 4.5.
Yeah.
How can I not, when we saw someone get lit on fire, someone hogtied and hung him like a piñata, and then super kicked with thumbtack-studded shoes?
Good Lord, the effort was certainly there in this. And, of course, starting off with music. You gotta love that. Hey, it's a joke.
It's every year.
It's a joke that never gets old. Calm down. It's a joke that never gets old. So
I'm just indifferent about it. They do it every year, so I expect it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Now I wonder what they're gonna do next year. What kind of music are they gonna play next year?
Like this, where it's just silly. Like the first half was very silly, and and then the last half was very violent. AEW are good at these. I still prefer Stadium Stampede, but I just think with every year, this match is getting better and better. It's one of AEW's staples, and I think that's what AEW needs is more staples like this. They got this. They got Blood and Guts. Double or Nothing. I do like that this is a staple of this pay-per-view now.
Yes.
Overall, I'm going to give this show a 7 out of 10. There was some very good stuff on the show. I very much enjoyed the opener. I liked Cassidy and Beretta for what it was. The main event was great, and the world title match was great. Everything else was fine. Nothing was mediocre on the show, but I just feel like it was between meh and decent.
Despite all of my frustrations throughout this podcast, I am going with an 8.25 out of 10 for this show. I found it super enjoyable. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. This show was right around the level of Dynasty for me. Might have been a little bit better than Dynasty. I think the matches were more consistently good across the card compared to Dynasty.
Was it on the level of the Devil?
Yes, and you also had the big MJF return, so that's why I'm kind of giving this more brownie points from me, at least. But I enjoyed it. Way better show than Double or Nothing last year. I'll just say that much.
I thought it was good too. I thought it was good too. That's a good solid 7. There's nothing wrong with a 7.
No, nothing wrong with a 7 at all. I just liked it a little bit more, but it's all subjective,
Chris was on
folks.
his review, so we could say, I'll give it a 5.
I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Yeah, let us know what you rate Double or Nothing this year down in the comments. Tomas and I have a lot more wrestling to talk about this summer. We're going to be starting our 2006 retrospective pretty soon with a horrible show, New Year's Revolution. And Yeah, Clash at the Castle is coming up out the pipeline. I left when he was announcing the TBS title match, so I hope he plugged it. But anyway, yeah, Clash at the Castle is coming up.
Castle.
Nah,
Priest versus McIntyre. That's going to be an interesting match. And then AEW wise, we don't know what's next for AEW, but
Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's next month.
Yeah,
we'll be doing that as well. So yeah, thank you for joining us on this crazy, never-ending streamer reviews. We're going to be talking about wrestling until we're 80.
Yes. Until we're old and blue in the face. But folks, thank you all so much. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up. And if you thought this podcast was on the level of the devil, tell your friends and share it with your friends as well. But guys, thank you so much again, and see you on the next one.